Okay, welcome to this show called Eat with the Owner. Today is episode 25. Welcome.
Thank you for inviting me. I can't tell you what a pleasure it is to be here. Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much. Just your name is
I'm Lawrence Binding.
Lawrence Binding. That's very kind of English name, right?
It's a very English name, and Binding is just the way it sounds.
Yeah,
Binding.
Yeah, great.
But my origin, you see, it's uncertain. Because my father was adopted.
Okay.
And he doesn't know for sure where his family tree is from. It's either English or German.
Okay.
One of those two places.
But you yourself is born here, right?
I was born in Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia.
Halifax.
That's kind of quite a nice place.
It is. It's a small town.
Yeah.
You know, it's only 125,000 people.
I guess people there must be super happy, right? They have a lot of resources.
Well, it depends. It's like anywhere else.
Really? Yeah.
You know, sometimes you're happy.
Is that part of Gaspe? Is that part of the eastern provinces?
It's in Halifax is in Nova Scotia,
Yeah.
so it's right on the Atlantic coast.
Yeah.
So you have Quebec, and
Yeah.
you know you take the St. Lawrence River all the way to the
the
Atlantic
east,
Ocean. Then
yeah.
you have the Gaspé.
Yeah.
Right.
Gaspe is a region, right?
Yeah.
It's a
No, they have people called Gaspésiens.
okay.
They have a great reputation.
That covers several provinces, only one.
Only Quebec.
I thought it was covering the Atlantic provinces.
No, the Gaspé
That's
is
my
only Quebec.
misconception. Yeah.
And Gaspésien people,
Okay.
they're francophone,
Yeah.
and they're considered the friendliest, most interesting people in Quebec.
Gaspe. Because all the immigrants, I've been in Montreal for 16 years. All my friends, like normally when you landed in Montreal, I guess as an immigrant, like first 5 years maximum, you always have a trip to Gaspe.
Yes.
It's like a
You have to
week.
go to the Gaspé.
But so far I haven't been. Like too busy with my life. I mean,
You know what you're missing out on?
Yeah.
The food.
Lobsters.
When I went to the
Seafood.
well, I'm not a fan of lobster,
Yeah.
but there are so many little restaurants.
Okay.
So tourtière,
Yeah.
and regional delicacies. Like if you go to the Gaspé, and you go to a small, there are probably 50, maybe 100 little tiny restaurants that are owned by the chef. Right?
Okay.
And so you're going to have, maybe you'll have rabbit, or you'll have deer.
That's amazing.
You know.
Like
So a lot of the places out there, you're going to have local produce and local game on your table.
so people are hunting as well, right? They
I don't know about that. I don't think so. I think they're buying their deer and they're buying their rabbit and whatnot.
Okay.
Somebody's trapping those things. But
That's amazing because I always little bit worried about the driving. A lot of like friends went there. They said the driving on the mountain, like very narrow roads.
it's
like
if you've driven in Europe, some of the smaller countries in
yeah,
Europe,
narrow streets.
Greece, for example, and you're on a mountainside in Greece or on a highway in Greece, driving in the Gaspé, cake.
Okay, great. Today, the one knowledge I learned is like Gaspé is only for Quebec.
It's only
region.
Quebec.
Yeah, I always thought
But you go whale watching there too. You know, you go there to see the beluga whales.
Okay.
They're called belugas. Yeah. So you can do whale watching. The food is amazing. Yeah. Like I've been there a couple of times now.
That's
the only reason I would go to the Gaspé is for the food.
That's amazing.
And Halifax, you should know this. This is an important lesson to learn.
Yeah.
Halifax is in Nova Scotia, which is its own province.
Yeah.
And Halifax is the biggest city in Nova Scotia, and it's a port. Yeah. So many you have military from all over the world in Halifax.
Wow, that's
because it's a huge naval port.
It's a cooperation from NATO. Maybe right now the NATO is a big topic.
You'll have the Americans, the Canadians, the French, of course, the English, everybody who's got a naval operation in the Atlantic.
I guess
sooner or later they get to Halifax.
I guess the Canada is supposed to be a huge, strong naval country, right? Because the East Coast, like huge coastal line.
You would think so, but with only 38 million or 37 million people, we don't have the money for that. Yeah,
it's better to spend the money on the healthcare, education, whatever, right? It's
a big country with very few people spread out across the country. So with so few people, I don't think we have the money for a massive naval, military, or air force. I think
it's not needed, actually.
I don't think it's needed either. With apologies to all you military people, my father was in the Navy. I love you, but
Yeah.
it's Canada.
Yeah, exactly.
I like to think of
Peaceful
us as
country.
peacekeepers.
Yeah. And also, like, what year, like, you moved to Montreal? Or...
I've moved to Montreal 3 times. This is the 3rd time,
Okay.
and it's stuck.
Sounds
The first time I came as a student,
Yeah.
a university student,
Okay.
I was going to school as a university student in Ontario,
Okay.
but I had relatives in Montreal. So I came here for a summer, and I spent 3 months, and I fell in love with it.
Which university did you go to?
I went to McMaster. It's in Hamilton, Ontario.
Okay, yeah. I thought you came to university in Montreal.
No,
McMaster.
no, I came here while I was a university student in another province, and I had some time on my hands for the summer.
Okay.
So I came to visit my relatives here in Montreal, and absolutely loved it.
Yeah, it's
I
amazing.
got accepted at Mcgill, and to this day, I regret that I went to McMaster. No offense.
McMaster is good at engineering, right?
Yes,
it's good at
great engineering
Yeah,
school. And I was going for marketing and communications. So I was accepted at Mcgill, Dalhousie in Halifax, Nova Scotia, York, and another school. And I went to McMaster. I wish I had come to Mcgill and lived in Montreal. But the second time I came was in the early 1990s.
Okay.
And I got recruited by an advertising agency because I'm a very specialized person in the advertising business.
Okay.
So they recruited me to come from Toronto, where I was living, and come work for their advertising agency here in Montreal.
Yeah.
It's a big one called Costa. So I came here to establish a healthcare marketing group. And so for the first 2.5, 3 years of the 1990s, I moved to Montreal. Yeah. It was one of the best experiences of my life. I was living in a tiny little apartment in Toronto. It's expensive. So I had a 2-bedroom apartment in a neighborhood called the Beaches.
Okay.
And I was paying, at the time, I don't know, $1,200 a month, something like that, for my 2-bedroom in Toronto. Yeah. When I moved to Montreal, I was paying $900 a month for an 11 and a half.
11 and a half? What kind of... Hard to calculate, right? I know 3.5 is one like bedroom, like 5.5 is 3 bedroom, and then after 11 you must have more.
Oh my God!
More.
I had a clothing.
More halves, right?
Yes, I had a clothing room. I had an exercise room. I had a music room. I had like 5 bedrooms, living room, dining room, kitchen, on Park Avenue, and I moved right across the street from Club Soda. Do you know Club Soda?
Club Soda, what is that?
One of the most popular bars in Montreal.
Does it still exist today?
Yes, it does, but not on Park Avenue.
Okay, okay.
Now they're on, I think, Boulevard Saint Laurent, just below... I think they're just below Sherbrooke. Yeah. Maybe a little bit further south, but they moved. Yeah. And when I used to come to Montreal as a student for fun, me and my friends, a lot of people come from Toronto to Montreal for a good time, we would always go to Club Soda because the live music is...
Do they sell soda only?
What's that?
Do they sell soda only?
No. Mm-mm. But you could always see amazing bands at Club Soda, and I love live music. So when I came to Montreal to work for Cossette, I asked a taxi driver to take me on a tour of the city. And I said, I don't know where to live. He asked me a few questions about myself. What do you like to do? Do you like restaurants? Do you like nightlife? Do you want a quiet neighborhood?
Quiet will be West Island.
Do you want an English neighborhood? Because I was speaking English. And I said, no, I need to learn French. I love live music. And I like restaurants, and I like cafes, and I want everything at my fingertips. So I said, I'm gonna go to a neighborhood called Mile End and the Plateau, and I'll drive you around, and I'm going to show you some places there. Ended up taking an 11 and a half directly across the street from Club Soda.
Jeez, that's $900 right now. You can get right now in Montreal. You can get a studio.
Barely. But then the referendum came along. And
that's 95, right?
Yes.
95.
And so the advertising agency, they were, part of my package to get me to move to Montreal was they were giving me French lessons. So I had a tutor come to my home twice a week at night. So I would work during the day, go home, and my tutor would come and spend 3 hours twice a week at my home teaching me French. So that lasted about 18 months, and I got to the point where I was okay,
have a conversation.
but not bilingual.
But like when you grew up, did you have French lessons in the secondary school, primary school?
That's a great question. I had the opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay, so in grade 9, when I was 13 years old, I continued on because in primary school in Ontario, where I was living at the time, my family moved from Nova Scotia to Ontario.
Okay.
We had children's French lessons in grade school.
Yeah.
And then you go to high school when you're 13 years old in Ontario, you start grade 9. And I was studying, one of my classes was French, introductory French. Voilà, c'est P2. P2 est un chien. P2, il est un beau chien. You know, that's what you learn in grade 9. But after grade 9, you have a choice. You can study French or another language. For example, Latin. So I switched, biggest mistake of my educational life. I switched from French to Latin because I'd always dreamed of being a lawyer. And in my 13-year-old mind, I would have a better vocabulary, an English vocabulary, if I studied Latin, which could benefit me as a lawyer.
And the medicine as well. Latin is great, right?
Well, it didn't help. It did not speed things up for me when I actually did want to learn French. So it complicated my life a little bit. When I came to Montreal to live, I really regretted studying Latin at high school instead of French.
But when you were like a teenage, like a secondary school in English province like Ontario, what did you guys think that time about French language? Like there's a Quebec, like
completely foreign,
like another
country. It felt like a big mystery.
But Canada is a bilingual.
Yes.
Officially bilingual language.
Yes. But I would say
you have to remember, I'm 61. I'm a little bit older than you.
I'm 42.
So I'm a lot older than you. I've got 20 years on you, okay? So I was going to high school in the 1970s in Ontario, and for us, Quebec was a mystery. It felt so foreign because you just didn't hear any French anywhere where I grew up.
It's like a European country.
Only in school. You know, it was I was growing up in Hamilton, Ontario, which is 30 minutes outside Toronto. And there were lots of people studying French in high school, and they were very good at it. But I made the mistake of choosing Latin. So for me, at the time, we would drive through Quebec to visit my family in Nova Scotia. So we would go through Quebec often. And it just felt like another country. It felt so completely different. And we didn't stop in Montreal. We'd only be stopping in small towns and villages on the highway.
That's totally French.
Completely francophone. And we loved it. To me, it was always
visiting Europe.
Even Europe was like the other side of the world. I was living a fairly insular life. A very English Canadian life in the 1970s in Hamilton, Ontario. Not that there weren't people there. Hamilton has a French community, actually. There are plenty of French people in Hamilton, but I was not living near anyone like that. So Montreal, Quebec was completely foreign, but like a completely different world.
But on the other hand, probably it's a benefit as well. So you don't need to travel far to see a kind of different culture.
Well, and I would pass through it every time I was on the way to visit family in Nova Scotia. So we had lots of exposure to it, but only driving through. And I didn't actually visit Montreal until I was a university student. So I didn't really get a chance to discover Quebec until I was coming here with my friends from university.
But there's a mystery for me, like as an immigrant, like from China. Like I did try to learn a lot of stuff about Montreal, about Canada. That mystery is like Montreal as a city used to be the biggest city in Canada, was better than economically is better than bigger than Toronto, right?
Yes, it
At
was.
what year? Like probably it's your like adult life, like you saw that change.
I did see the change.
So from what years? Like around what years? Like Toronto is
I would say
bypassing
from 1980 something, let's say 1985 to 2000,
Okay.
the circumstances switched completely. The entire Canada's financial center used to be in Montreal. All of the big banks in Canada.
So now it's all on the
insurance-
Yonge Street, right? Right now it's Yonge Street in
Well,
Toronto.
Bay Street.
Bay Street.
All
Sorry.
of the insurance companies, big companies like that, the financial sector was entirely in Montreal. But
85, before 85, so Montreal was still. So the impression I got was right.
it's historically absolutely right.
Okay.
Completely right.
I thought like if I talk to another Quebec person, Quebecois will say like, that's all the different reasons. Like somehow.
Well, there was a massive exodus out of Montreal because of the separatist movement.
The instability.
It got very strong with René Lévesque and very serious, right?
Oh,
serious.
The premier, like there's a YouTube video he was talking to students.
Of course.
Was a very kind of charismatic person.
Very powerful, very charismatic.
Yeah, it's amazing. I watched that YouTube video.
Yeah, well, I think some of the best.
You don't see that kind of politician today.
You don't.
Trudeau doesn't have that kind of personality. Character.
His father did.
Yeah.
Pierre Trudeau did.
Yeah, okay.
I would say Lucien Bouchard definitely had that kind of charisma and power. Yeah. To me, that's Canada's greatest, the country of Canada.
It's open, very open, the very close to the audience, to the people asking questions.
Yeah. Sometimes
tough questions. You answer the tough question. That shows you are strong-willed, right?
Very strong.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I think, René Lévesque, as great a leader as he was for the province of Quebec, what he engineered, this huge
kind of movement,
this huge separation movement, or what did he call it? Sovereignty Association, he called it, where you would stay connected to Canada but be your own country kind of thing. I still haven't got that figured out. But he was very charismatic. He's the kind of person I would love to have been able to go out to dinner with 3 or 4 times a year. Extremely passionate, interesting, very powerful guy who had his own mind. Yeah. He thought for himself, which I don't think very many politicians do today. Another guy, Lucien Bouchard, same way. Yeah. I think he was Canada's greatest loss.
I just saw that guy was smoking cigarette, and then talking. It's amazing. And then look at today, like Trudeau, like it's like for some trivial things, he put the emergency act. So for trivial thing. So it's like if you're in a tough situation, you cannot negotiate. Let's do the final result. It's kind of, you don't have that kind of personality to persuade people.
He doesn't have the gravitas. He doesn't have, I don't think, much strength of character.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have the skills, people skills, like talk to people, because every time you have to negotiate, you lose some, you gain something. That's the politicians. Yeah. Any qualified politicians is like, I'm a student. Actually, I'm from being here in like 20 years after graduation.
I was going to ask you, what age did you come to Montreal?
25, 26.
So you lived in China. Yeah. Did you choose Montreal to come and live?
Yeah.
How did you choose it?
It's coincidence. It's like I had 4 years of university, and after that I worked for Huawei, the first company I worked for almost 5 years. So it's about, typically in China, it's 22 years old. You graduate from university, and then I worked 4 years in Huawei first job. So I had the chance to go outside every different countries. So for me, I always thinking like I'm.
So you were working for Huawei internationally.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So like I always think about how the society is organized. How do they kind of government is formed? How do they have the consent to govern whatever? So it's always I have the mentality as a young student to see how different society is. That's why I had the question like what really happened to Montreal actually as a mega city. It used to be mega city. Right now you don't see the attraction to people in the world. The top tier people go to United States. Even in Canada, they go to kind of very vibrant like economy like Toronto as a center.
I think Montreal's economy is going to come back. I think we need to get past COVID.
Yeah.
Even
without, that's why I'm always thinking, even without like without COVID, before COVID, Quebec Montreal as a mag city was not that kind of active because like you have a lot of restrictions. You know, the obvious thing like if you don't fix, for example, potholes in the street, if you have a system.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that's why I'm always saying I'm a student. I'm not.
Hey gang, on the way here.
It's like you are driving a Ferrari.
I actually did a video.
Yeah.
I was doing a live TikTok video in my car, videotaping the potholes I was driving over, so people could see how crazy it is.
Actually,
here.
you can start a project. You can go all the street. You can have a compilation for 100 videos to have 100 different streets of pothole. Because if you have I have no position to criticize anybody because I'm a student to the system.
Right.
But if you have a system like city level or province level, if you can see as a politician or the leader to see your road is like that, over 40 years, 20 years, or 10 years, you cannot fix it. That shows problem. That shows nobody is capable. It doesn't matter how do you talk. You know, it's the mayor plant, Valérie plant, or another Denis Coderre before, or the François Legault as the premier. They all talk nicely, very eloquently, very great person. But if the result is like that, somehow something is wrong. You know,
if you can't fix the roads, why?
Yeah.
And everybody says, well, Montreal's climate is completely unique. There's no other place
that's
like
the BS.
Come on,
that's totally BS.
Come on. There's lots of cities around the world on the same latitude as Montreal with the same weather Montreal's got. I don't think that they have the kind of roads we've got.
You don't have right now. It's every people they play safe. Politicians they play safe. They don't want to make some moves to really do something like really meaningful, really can show the results to the people. They always play safe. They always want to survive. They talk really nice. They promise a little bit, and if that's the thing is the press. The press don't hold them accountable. They just talk about small things. You know, it's.
I find it strange sometimes. In the last municipal election when Valérie Plante was running against Denis Coderre.
That was really fun.
It was interesting to see, and I just got the sense that they didn't really tackle issues that are critical to the city. Like, I think someone should have said, we should have one of the most vibrant downtown core in all of Canada. It should be the most exciting place in the country to visit. We should have lots of business opportunities in our downtown core.
We have French and English.
I think it's nice to have bicycle lanes. I really do. I like to bicycle myself, and I'm proud that our city has maybe the best bicycle paths in North America. I don't know. But our streets are falling apart. And if someone comes to Montreal in the spring and they've got a nice car, let's say they drive their Porsche in from New York.
Or Tesla.
Or their Tesla from New York, and you lose the front half of your car in a pothole, it sends a terrible message.
They're not careful. Sometimes they're not used to this, so they just drive, enjoying the ride, and then boom. It's not like us. We are experienced Montreal drivers, so we look.
Everybody thinks Montreal drivers are terrible, but in fact, what we're doing is trying to avoid the potholes.
We're really great because we participate. We know something on the road.
We know it's a bad idea to end up in one of those potholes. It's unbelievable.
Like my theory is, I'm not good at anything, but if I see the road continue like this, it's getting worse. So no politician, they can pass. Nobody passes because if you see the result like this, you cannot fix it. Like, doesn't matter, mayor or premier. So you cannot pass. You cannot get 60 points. You probably get. You are struggling between 30 points to 59 points, so you never qualify because
it's insane here.
That's not even on their radar. It isn't. They need to talk.
They didn't even talk about it.
Exactly. They need to talk about every day before their morning prayer, before their morning breakfast, before they say prayers. The praise. They need to always talk about the road problem because, like, as a top people, I'm the small fish. I'm the struggling person, everyday small business owner, like struggling. we don't have the choice to say which city we want to move. But if the top people, top tier talents, they come to see Montreal, they think about, do we want to settle the family here? If they see the road like that, they all leave. The top people, I'm not saying people living in Montreal, there's no top tier people. There's some top tier talents, but not so many. Some of them, they just gonna take a flight.
Yeah.
They
I take your point.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't feel
Yeah.
like a first class
Yeah.
infrastructure.
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking about the people.
Yeah.
I mean, there's wonderful people
Yeah.
here. I love living in Montreal. I've met so many brilliant people. It's not funny. But the infrastructure
Yeah.
is a mess. Like,
Yeah.
you don't see this in Toronto.
It
It
shows the mentality of the people, or the elected people, because the mentality is, you see the problem right in front. It's elephant in the room. You see you bump every day yourself, but you still don't mention that every day to fix it. So that shows it's not showing the condition of Montreal is not bad. It's the condition. It's the problem of people not fixing it, not even trying.
You know, Fei Gang, I've got an amazing example of how crazy some conversations are in Montreal.
Yeah.
So I was on Reddit.
Yeah.
You know the
Oh, yeah, I
website
know
Reddit?
that. Yeah.
So I was on there's a Reddit page specific to Montreal.
Yeah.
So I was on the Montreal page, and I saw a question come up. It was interesting. It was a young guy.
Yeah.
He said, "I'm thinking about moving to Montreal."
Yeah.
And I want to have an apartment in NDG
Yeah.
or something like that. But I need to be able to get to Ganawagi. So I need to go across the Mercier Bridge.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to do that every day.
Yeah.
I was thinking about getting a moped. Would it be safe
Yeah.
for me to take a moped from, say, NDG
Yeah.
to Kanawaki? And
No way. In winter,
comments,
at least,
the
yeah.
comments were unbelievable. Well, he wasn't thinking about doing it in the winter. It would be spring, summer, fall.
Yeah.
But we know what everybody said?
Yeah.
It's the potholes
Yeah.
are so dangerous on the Mercier Bridge that you would be really risking your life if you try to take a moped across the Mercier Bridge, because the potholes are so big and everybody's driving like this to try to miss the potholes. So the consensus was, do not buy a moped. It's too dangerous to take it across the Mercier Bridge. That's ridiculous.
And most time,
That's crazy.
And most time, Mercier Bridge, they always close. They only have one lane. Most of the time, a lot of time, it's only one lane available. Mercier Bridge they always repair. It's in the repair mode half of the year.
I think they employ a lot of people on that bridge every year.
Happy people.
I think so. I'm not sure if it's a work opportunity or not. But the conversation, like the normal conversation, it should have been, too many trucks go over that bridge. The cars are really going fast. It's dangerous because of that. But no, the danger was the potholes. Don't buy a moped because of the potholes.
If the leaders of Montreal or province Quebec, if they see the road like they're okay, it's something. It shows something. Shows this kind of the level is like it's not competent at all.
It feels incompetent, doesn't it?
It's you need to see that every day.
So Valerie Plante, we have a message for you. It's great to have bike paths. We love them. Please fix the roads.
Yeah, it's
for good.
Yeah.
Not just for 6 months.
Yeah.
Do something important,
but if
and completely reinvent the roads.
If you cannot fix today or tomorrow or the next 5 years, it's fine. It takes time, but at least you need to bring that up every day, and you start doing something. At least you try. They're not even trying.
No.
It's
and what a legacy it would be.
Yeah, it's
you know, if you were the mayor of the city, and 25 years down the road, someone says, "What did you accomplish?" What's the most important thing? Like if you were the mayor who modernized Montreal's roads and made them last 20 years, that would be an amazing legacy.
They need to and also look at the level of them being responsible is crazy. They just say things all right wrong, but they don't do anything. Like the recycle trucks. The recycle, everybody put it nicely. I live in West Island. Everybody put the recycle.
Where do you live?
West Island.
West Island.
Yeah.
Okay.
So every family did that part. Recycle the blue bins.
Yeah.
But the problem, they just kind of mix everything. The recycle. I just saw a lot of times, even the downtown Montreal, the recycle trucks actually they just landfill as well. There's no recycle. So everybody pretending to do something good for the environment.
Okay, this is depressing me. I'm so careful about my recycle and my garbage and my
Everybody
compost.
does that.
I have
a
no-
lot of people.
Yeah.
But they don't care.
Oh, God.
If
I had
you
no idea.
Check next time. Watch any recycle trucks. What they do? They kind of crush everything, and then all the kind of the other garbage mixed together. That goes landfill 100%.
Okay, so I have a question for you. If you were going to give somebody from China some advice, they were saying, Fei Gang, I'm thinking about coming to Canada. I need an adventure in my life. I want to live in Canada for the next 10 years. Would you tell them to come to Montreal?
It's a big balance. Montreal is already okay, but we are criticizing to make it better. But I guess by average, Montreal is still a good city. But
I think it's a wonderful.
It just has the potential to be much better.
It has the potential to be incredible.
Much better.
I think everybody gets along now. I don't get the feeling that there's any tension anymore between the English and the French. Yeah, the school board thing and a little bit politics from time to time, but it's not like when I was here in the 1990s and the 1980s was really
tough.
A serious issue.
Tension.
And it's gone now, so it's a great place to live. It has become expensive, but it's still not at the same level as Toronto or Vancouver.
But it's like it's people's complacent about like it looks like two kids growing up, like one growing up in a rich family, another growing up poor family. But the rich family, they are performing better because they are not try hard enough. Montreal is a city. The city inherited great stuff. Like look at the Montreal, the landscape. You have two rivers, island, and you have all the small mountain hills, and then the forests, national parks. It's amazing, almost unique in the world. It has the resources, natural resources everywhere. It's amazing.
It's amazing. You can drive to New York in 5 hours.
And
you can get to Manhattan in 5 hours from here.
It's a great city. So you are supposed to do well. You are supposed you have everything you need. But if you kind of mess up, if you do perform only average, you're supposed to get like of the 100 scale, you're supposed to get 85 points. But you are constantly getting the 50 or 60 passing grade. You always get the 60. You kind of pat your back saying, I'm doing great, I'm doing fine. You have the potential. Not even the potential. You are supposed to do better.
I sometimes wonder if part of that is the government of Quebec is in Quebec City, and Montreal's issues are important, but I think that the government in Quebec is trying to do the best it can for the entire province, right? So they don't focus all of their attention on one city to the exclusion of every place else.
But it's not the province problem, it's the mayor. Because I guess the Montreal and Toronto, they have the special city status, I guess. They already got that special mega city status, so they have a lot of power than other small cities. So if the mayor of Montreal, they decide to do a lot of things, I guess they have the power. They can get more resources because they have the special status as a city.
Well, maybe I'm not sure Montreal has. I mean, I know it has a special place in Quebec. It's the economic engine of the province. I mean, without the money from Montreal, the rest of Quebec is going to have a hard time financially. But I do get the sense that the politicians in Quebec City, I don't think they're very focused on how do we make Montreal one of the most exciting cities on the planet. I don't.
No,
and I don't think Valerie Plante, I don't think she thinks that way. I think she thinks about.
But the mayor of big city Montreal is very powerful. Like the mayor of New York. Sometimes they are more powerful than like a lot of parliament members because it's a mega city. If a mayor of mega city, very powerful.
Everybody knows who the mayor of New York City is.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Montreal has it's a similar situation. The mayor of Toronto is huge as well because you are in charge of the I'm still a student of political system here, but the municipal level and the provincial level and federal level, the power separate really well. So they got their own power. It's very powerful position.
They do, and I think, like, I just don't know how they make budgeting decisions. I don't think at that level when I'm thinking about municipal elections. I probably should think more about it. I probably should, but I think I'm like all Canadians. We're way more focused on what's happening federally, and we get way more upset at Justin Trudeau or whoever the prime minister happens to be, or Way more upset if you're in Quebec at Legault or in Ontario, Doug Ford. Like that's just normal. I think the bigger the stage, the more the spotlight is on you. So Montreal is a big stage, but it's not the biggest stage in Quebec. I mean, Legault has the spotlight on him in Quebec, not Valerie Plante. So even though Valerie Plante is the most responsible person for the island of Montreal, and let's say 1.7 million people, something like that, she still doesn't have the same spotlight on her that Legault has on himself. And it's the same in Toronto. Most people outside Ontario couldn't tell you who the mayor of Toronto is, but everybody knows that Doug Ford is the premier.
Okay, actually, I forgot to bring the menu. I go downstairs. It will keep rolling, and I run downstairs.
Okay. No worries.
See. Yes, I forgot to start ordering the food.
This is one of the reasons I was so excited to do this. You were aware that I'm in the middle of doing a series of TikTok videos about Chinese restaurants in Montreal?
Yeah.
And the first video I did, I came on and I said to my followers, I said, guys, I really need your help here because I'm very confident in North American style restaurants. I've been to hundreds of them over the years. I love Japanese food. I'm very confident with Japanese food, Italian, Lebanese. I have lots of experience. But Chinese food, I haven't got a clue. And I said, I always feel like a fool when I go to a Chinese restaurant because I just don't know what to order. I know that if I get General Tao chicken or Shanghai noodles or a Cantonese chow mein or something. This is North American. This is like American Chinese food. Exactly. I always feel like I'm faking it when I go to a Chinese restaurant because I don't know. So I asked my followers, help me, tell me where to go. And your restaurant was one of the top 2 in Montreal.
That's amazing.
Of all my 11,700 followers, Aunt Day.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Was right at the top. You're loved.
Thank you very much.
But so one of the things I wanted to ask you here today was, can you give me an authentic Chinese food experience? Like not General Tao chicken, not Shanghai noodles. Can you help me discover Chinese food in a way that I wouldn't be able to do on my own?
For sure, it's very interesting. Actually, after running a restaurant for 8 years, Chinese restaurant, like we have been.
Is this your first restaurant, by the way?
First restaurant, first business. I'm an IT guy. I worked in, the
So
first
you
company.
learned the restaurant business here at Aunt Day.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know how to cook as well, even today. So myself is not a.
It's an interesting admission for a restaurant owner.
Actually, I'm not the biggest fan of Chinese food either.
Okay.
I like steak. Myself favorite, but the favorite food is like Subway sandwiches. That's my favorite, even today.
You need to watch my video.
And also,
I've gone through all of the best sandwich places from one end of Montreal to the other, north and south.
Also, I like I like McDonald's as well. I like Five Guys.
Five Guys is good.
Yeah, Five Guys is amazing.
I had a burger yesterday at a place called Capital Burger.
Okay.
And I put a video up. I went to the one in LaSalle. Unbelievable. They grind their own beef.
Okay,
They cut their own French fries.
You
will love it. And they opened one up on Boulevard Avenue Montréal.
If you do, as a business, is the cost and what is the cost and the revenue thing.
Okay.
Like if you mix everything, like grind your beef, everything, that would be totally amazing. It's just like the cost of your labor, the material, and then how much revenue you get. So it's kind of a tricky balance as a business to survive. Some people, they do this kind of costly process. If they can get like more revenue, and it's amazing. But sometimes they fail as well. So it's kind of tricky. It's maybe a luck as well.
And maybe part of it is, are you doing something unique?
Yeah.
And I get the feeling that these guys are, but nobody knows it.
Yeah.
So because I had someone recommend to me last year, you need to go try Capital Burgers because I was doing burger reviews and La Boulette, by the way, amazing hamburgers, and Toussignon, great burgers too. But I didn't get to Capital.
Yeah.
So when I didn't discover, like nobody even told me, they grind their own beef. That's why you should go. I didn't know. So I discovered it when I was there having a burger a couple of days ago, and I said, "Hey, these are amazing.
Yeah.
Why are you? What do you do anything unique?" And the guy said, "Well, we grind our own beef." And I went,
It's like the Montreal, the dumpling places, like the Sammy, they're very good because they do everything on site.
Yes.
It's nobody beats fresh. Nothing beats fresh. If you make it fresh, and nothing is better.
Yeah.
And unless you mess up hugely.
Yeah.
So that's like
use bad ingredients.
Yeah. It's like for being restaurant for 8 years, like a lot of things I learned. It's like a lot of things we do. Lot of times we try not to do, and it's a lot of like interesting small decisions.
What was the like when you started Aunt Day?
Yeah.
Were you in the IT business just before doing that?
No, I always in the IT. I've been working in Montreal as an IT professional for 14 years. Oh, not 14. How many? 16, 14 years. I got laid off during the pandemic. Otherwise, I always running a restaurant is my side job.
So this is a second.
Yeah, it's
you do so you were in IT and running Aunt Day.
Yeah, exactly. So
wow.
The first 6 years of the restaurant, I was doing full-time IT job and then the restaurant. That's why I'm always playing safe, to be honest. That's always my theory is I can never make a big success because I'm not putting all my energy there. So I'm playing safe.
Yeah.
So when you play safe, you don't achieve good. Don't achieve great. So that's my theory. So I don't expect our restaurant being great, and that's why I saying always not that good. The comments land us on the New York Times, the article.
Well, on your menu, you've actually commented.
Not that good.
It's just, I like this. I don't like this as much.
Because
this is not my favorite, but you're gonna like it.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah,
so you got noticed because that was completely unique.
Yeah, it's kind of. I did not expect we do great, and for me, like I'm always playing safe, even today. But I'm forced because I was laid off from my company during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So I was forced to be full-time restaurant owner right now, being almost 2 years the full-time restaurant owner. So that makes me to know this business a lot more than before, a lot better.
I think it's probably good to know your business extremely well.
Yeah.
To know the details.
Yeah.
Understand what they struggle with in the kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. So now I know a lot of stuff. And before, first 6 years, we are a lot better than before, to be honest. And also when we get kind of recognized by media was January 2021 thanks to the Twitter from Kim. And that was already almost 1 year after I'm full-time in there. So the quality definitely was better, was improved.
Right.
When I started being in the restaurant full-time, 7 days a week.
So now you're focused a lot more on it.
It's almost 100%. I'm
100%.
dedicated.
What's your vision for Aunt Day for the future? Like just a successful restaurant, or do you have bigger ideas?
I still don't think we will be successful. I'm gonna explain you the Chinese restaurant in Montreal.
You have to explain it because people love your restaurant. Like people love it.
Not the level I would like, because it's very tough. The Chinese cuisine itself is you have way too many choices. That's the good thing. Also the bad thing is the double-edged sword. It
makes it very difficult for customers too.
Exactly.
It's so hard.
Yeah. And also for the restaurant owner, if you for us. Look at the menu. The first page will be the appetizer.
Yes.
The second page we start with genital chicken.
Yeah.
You see the genital chicken, orange beef. These two very typical North American Chinese food.
Yes.
And broccoli beef, it's half. In China we eat broccoli beef as well. So here broccoli beef, it's light.
Yeah.
And broccoli is loved by everybody except kids. So it's kind of. From there, it's all the traditional hot pepper beef, satay beef. It's kind of weird because satay sauce in mainland we don't use
Like,
that much.
here's something that unless somebody told me,
Yeah.
Lawrence,
Yeah.
you absolutely have to try stir-fried pork intestine. I would never choose that on my own because it's intestines. It's an organ, you know? And I
I
would
never
go-
had that before. Even I
You've not ordered it yourself?
before the restaurant, no.
Okay.
Even in the middle of the first 4 or 5 years, we did not have this on item.
Okay.
Did not have this on the menu.
Right.
So only 3 or 4 years ago, a lot of people, Chinese customer, they ask, you have to have the intestine because that's kind of very popular. So
Okay.
that's why I'm saying like I'm more Subway
Like-
guy.
Braised pork neck bone.
Yeah.
Like a guy from like me.
Yeah.
I'm an average guy. There's nothing special
Yeah.
about me.
Yeah.
I mean, I love food, and I like to think that I'm adventurous.
Yeah.
But I can't tell you how many times I've ordered General Tao chicken instead of something like braised pork neck bone. I've never done it.
The bone is a big thing for the meat.
It looks like it.
Yeah.
It looks huge.
Because like the bone is very inconvenient to eat, but the problem is like a lot of flavor has to come from the bone. There may be science behind it, but
Yeah.
like if the meat like the we have 3-cup chicken, very popular 3-cup chicken here. Oh, the other page, 3-cup chicken here. It's very not spicy, but the problem is coming from chicken legs, and it has bones.
So you have to eat it off the bones.
Yeah, if you don't have the bones, the flavor will be very different. I
Yeah.
have a lot of customers told me like this flavor they really like, but they want like without bones.
So I'm curious. I want you to think
Yeah.
about the two kinds of customers you get: Chinese
Yeah.
and, let's say, North American
Yeah.
Caucasian, something like that. So, what's the most popular dish amongst the Chinese customers that come to eat here?
That would be spicy diced chicken and twice cooked pork, also braised pork belly.
So I was actually looking at braised pork belly and the twice cooked pork, and I was thinking maybe I'll try one of those.
But they are greasy though. That's why I have one video for each item on the menu. So I have.
Listen, I've eaten at
Yeah.
more greasy spoons than you can shake a stick at. I don't have a problem with greasy.
Yeah.
As long as it
That should be-
tastes
that should be-
good.
That should be fine. The braised pork belly with sweet potato noodle will be.
I had this for the first time
Yeah.
at another restaurant, and I did not like it.
Yeah.
I thought it would be amazing, and I was like,
Yeah.
not so great.
It's a little bit salty, to be honest. This one, the flavor only maybe vinegar or something, but it's a kind of the green beans usually very, very liked by a lot of customers,
I'm
even
sure.
local customers.
Yeah.
It's almost good to everybody.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's green beans and hamburger, right?
Yeah.
It's ground beef.
Yeah. It's green beans very, very popular.
Yeah.
But it depends on the beans. This because I go to the wholesale vegetable market by myself. So sometimes the green beans they all produced in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I don't know which bad.
Is there anything that, as a restaurant owner, you're having a lot of difficulty getting right now because of the supply chain problems?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's
Like, I know you
the
can't
Chinese
you can't get Tsingtao beer anywhere.
no, not at all.
So what about the food? Is there anything you can't get anymore because
The
of?
Chinese eggplant will be tough, but we are lucky I have 3 places to go.
Mhm.
One place for sure no, but other 2 places like if this one does not have Chinese eggplant, the other one probably they have. So far, it's like not that bad. The
Okay.
Chinese eggplant is tough, and another is we call flag cabbage, the cabbage, but it's kind of oval it's a flat. It's a
Okay.
round but flat. The cabbage we call Korean cabbage or
Yeah.
the cabbage flat.
What market do you go to for your food?
The vegetables always like Lacadie area, like Thomas fruit and legume.
Yeah.
Thomas is pretty good, and
Yeah.
Canada White. Canada White is huge,
Yeah,
and another one is Sammy. So this
Sammy Fruits.
yeah, Sammy fruits.
I know the guy who owns it.
Oh really?
Yeah. Our 2 sons played hockey together for
Okay,
a long
okay.
time.
Yeah.
Sammy Fruits, the owner's a great guy.
it's amazing. They got a lot of good vegetables.
Yeah.
So we are lucky to have limited menu. So our menu only 4 or 5 pages, comparing to a lot of.
Think about how crazy that sounds. Our menu's only 4 or 5 pages.
Yeah.
But I understand because I'm doing a series of
Yeah.
reviews on Chinese restaurants now. If you go to one down in Chinatown, I won't name them.
But they have
it's-
10 pages.
Yeah,
Right?
they have 10 pages. And I feel like an idiot because I
I would
can't
feel
figure-
idiot as well.
I can't figure out what to order.
too many options to too many choices.
Yeah, and then what they do is the first page of those menus, usually what they've got is combinations.
Yeah.
So combination 1, combination 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then group meals. And that's how they sell all of their food to tourists.
Yeah. And also they
I
have
always
numbers.
feel disappointed when I try to not order a combo meal. I'm going to try to order a main platter and a starter and maybe something else.
Because they always have numbers as well.
Yeah.
They have numbers for easier for customers to know. Oh, number 10, number 11 next time.
Yeah.
Next 5. That's for the first day of the restaurant cuisine on that 8 years ago.
Okay.
I try not to do that. If you never use numbers, because that's I don't want to have a restaurant people just point. I want this.
You know
number
what?
10, number
It diminishes the feeling of quality. I don't feel like I'm really getting a high quality order if I say I want number 13, number 7, and number 2. Yeah. I would rather say
exactly.
what I'm ordering.
That's my
feels more authentic.
Yeah, exactly. That's my intention. Even we are not that great, not that good, but at least we try to be authentic. We try to be really good. So you tell us the name, either in English or French or Chinese, but not tell us a number. I want number 10. I just don't want that. So for the last 8 years, a lot of customers told us, your menu, you can have a number for that. But I always keep that, I resist that kind of.
I think
if I lose some customer over that, I'm okay with it.
Listen, I from a customer perspective, I think there is an opportunity. I mean, you've already done something unique by writing comments on your own your own meals. But I think the other thing that I think you're kind of a unique owner. You could, if you were trying to create a unique reputation in Montreal, you could say, come to Ante, choose one thing you're going to love off of our menu. Allow us to recommend something we think you'll love. And we'll introduce you to authentic Chinese food. And you're going to discover something that maybe you wouldn't anywhere else in Montreal. That would be very interesting for people, because I think I'm not alone.
Yeah, but also
I think I'm not alone.
Actually, I addressed that already.
Oh yeah.
I made a video for I eat every one of in front of camera. I explain every dish already.
Yeah.
So in a video, 20 minutes. If you want to know our dish genital chicken, the twice cooked pork. If you're not familiar with, I spent 20 minutes in front of camera to explain everything about that dish.
Is it on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, YouTube channel, also the online menu as well. On every item on the online menu, and there's a link to the YouTube video. To click the link to see me sitting in front of camera, one bowl of rice, one plate. And then I finish from the beginning to end. I finish everything and explain you the close-up look, and also I tell you the flavor.
Every item on your menu?
Every item. So
wow.
I did this 8 years ago. But that time I was doing my IT job, so I did not want the boss to find out I have a side job.
Right.
So there's several volunteer customers, they came to shoot the video. I was behind the camera. So there was old YouTube channel. So I did this for 8 years already.
Oh
and
my goodness.
we explain every dish on the menu has a customer to explain. That customer, what is the name? Sergio. He was on this with the owner as well. I guess 23rd or 23rd episode probably. He came after 7 years he came on the show.
Wow.
7 years ago he was on the video saying this item, there's bones or not, check. Spicy or not, spicy to 3 of the 5 scale. And then has what is the other criteria? Spicy or not, and then has bones or not. Another one was greasy or not, or something like that. Yeah. Even the shrimp has shell or not. Yeah. And that guy is amazing. We have two. He did the French, and another guy did the English. Wow. And but that video quality even, because today I use, what is that called, Final Cut.
Oh, you know how to use Final Cut?
Just basic.
Final Cut Pro?
Yeah, Final Cut Pro. I bought that $400 from Apple.
Is it worth it?
It's amazing. Yeah.
Is it hard to learn?
Not so hard. But me is doing everything very basic. Yeah. The best function, the feature of the Final Cut Pro is to reduce the background noise. Amazing.
That's fantastic.
So this microphone, they're not. I bought this 8 years ago. 8 years ago, still working.
They should.
And for the customer to record the videos that time. Then this time, 2021, I took them out, still working. Even the battery, rechargeable battery is still working.
Microphone technology is a lot better than most people expect. And I think the big, honestly, I think there's a huge difference. When you use a microphone to record your phone videos, and rather than using the onboard microphone on the phone, there's a huge difference in the quality.
And the Final Cut Pro, it's amazing. You just do that one click, remove the background noise. It's amazing.
Yep.
It is amazing. Otherwise, I use without that function, it's so bad.
I have to tell you, it's not the same level.
Yeah.
But for example, when you're doing a TikTok video, you can use the app itself and create a video right in TikTok. It's very easy. I use something called Filmic Pro.
Okay.
$10. But I have much more control over the color, the back. Like I have so much control just using a couple of commands on my phone. Even and then when you upload it to TikTok, and you're still working on some of the components of the video in TikTok, you can almost eliminate background noise just by checking off a little box on TikTok. They'll do it for you.
Yeah, I guess it's
amazing.
The algorithm did that.
But I have been looking for an app that wouldn't be too complicated to learn, where I could maybe play with my videos a little bit and improve the quality.
I would recommend the Final Cut Pro. Okay. It's amazing. You have YouTube, like editorial,
a lot of people like Adobe Premiere.
But this one is pretty amazing. And you can literally, I guess a lot of people doing movies, edit movies with that. Yep. You can have basic, you have, there's a lot of tutorial videos about this one. It's amazing. I just checked a few videos. At the beginning, I had more time to play with it. Right. 2 years ago, I started 2 years ago maybe to play with it, and it's amazing. But I just did not have any time to. This one I only do is remove the background noise and add a title. That's all. Nothing else. For me, it's so simple.
That is very simple.
Yeah, but that software itself, it's amazing. Yeah. That one, Final Cut Pro, it's crazy.
I'll have to check it out because I've been using Filmic to film my video and then upload it to TikTok. And I'm using the TikTok tools to add a soundtrack, play with the soundtrack volume, play with I do voiceovers, supers on screen, text on screen.
They are good already.
The one thing that they don't do for you is allow you to make transitions. Okay. Because if you film your video in different sections, different clips, I don't think that there is a transition tool in TikTok. So I'll sometimes, here's one for you. This is a bit wonky. I use Canva. Have you ever heard of Canva? It's mostly a design app. It's very inexpensive. It's phenomenal. If you want to redesign your menu or anything which was traditionally print oriented, but you're still looking at the pictures and the words, Canva is unbelievable. And they've just recently put a video editing component into it, which isn't bad. I mean, it's not going to compete with Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere or something like that, but those are expensive apps. Those are like $400 apps. Canva is like $15 a year, and I can do nice transitions and stuff like that, but I don't think I can do it at the same level of quality as Final Cut. Great. So we should maybe pick some food?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
So I want to try that either the twice cooked pork or braised pork belly. Which would you recommend?
I would recommend braised pork belly.
Yeah.
But this one, you see all the menu, we always have Chinese name and the pinyin as well. If you want to try 回锅肉 or the 红烧肉炖粉条, it's always there. That's why I want to.
红烧肉炖粉条.
Yeah, exactly. I
got it.
That's 90 points already.
Yes.
That's why I want to bring the real stuff.
This is my Achilles heel in French.
Which one?
I can speak French when I want to. When I try,
Yeah.
I can speak French with a beautiful accent.
Yeah.
But I lose 50% of my vocabulary. I have to work so hard to get the accent right that I forget words.
But the Chinese pinyin is from Latin language. Chinese pinyin is very French. A lot of time, like it's like very French.
So Hong Shao Ru Dun Fen Tiao.
Yeah, exactly.
It does have kind of a French feel.
Yeah,
to it.
it is. The Chinese pinyin is coming from that.
Okay.
It's coming from
when you
Latin.
say ping, what's that?
Pinyin. Pinyin is like the letter.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's here.
The writing.
Writing with called Chinese characters. Japanese characters similar. Kanji in Japanese. So there's 6 characters.
Okay.
So each character we use the pinyin letters to represent them.
Okay.
So there's Hong Shao Rou. Hong, the first one means red.
Yeah.
So it's Hong, H-O-N-G. And you have the attonation.
Yeah.
And then it going up. So Hong going
Okay.
up when you say it. Shao, like the second. Shao, S-H is shi, like sushi.
Yeah.
Shao, A-O is ao.
Yeah.
It's like Spanish or so, whatever. Shao, but it's flat. Look.
Yeah.
Shao, you don't like shao or shao. Like
It's flat.
Yeah, flat.
So the indication is there. You're getting your...
The dun is the rou. Rou means like R-O.
Oh, you have the accent in the opposite direction.
Rou means going down. Rou,
Okay.
like when you say that rou, not
Yeah.
rou, not rou.
Like an accent
Yeah.
grave.
Yeah. And then fen, dun, fen means like powder, powder, fen. So, but you see this little thing is going down and up. So F-E-N, fen.
Like an upside down
Yeah,
circumflex.
so when you pronounce it, when you say it like fen, you say fen going up. You see that fen, not like a fen or fen or fen.
And how many of those pronunciation
The tones like a
marks are there in your
only
language?
4.
Only 4.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
that's
like-
that's reasonable.
So
That's not hard to learn.
Flat, up, down, and up. So you actually this name covers everybody. This 6 covers everybody. Like a fen means going down. Fen.
Yeah.
You cannot fen.
Fen.
Fen is different, but
Hong
fen.
Shao Wu Dun Fen Tiao.
Yeah, fen. Tiao.
Okay.
Tiao. T-E-T-I-A-O. You see going up.
Yeah.
Tiao, not tiao.
Yeah.
Tiao is jump. When you see tiao, it's like a piece. But if you see tiao means jump.
Okay.
So
So
it's
the
going
pronunciation changes the meaning of the
down.
word.
Exactly.
Okay.
Tiao. So
Alright.
so one we call 1, 2, 3, 4. But it's flat, up, and down.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's order food. So I would love to try the braised pork belly,
Okay.
hot and sour soup,
Okay.
and you pick.
Are you okay with the bones? You don't like, right?
Well, I don't mind bones.
The bones like spicy. Okay.
Yeah, I
Very
love spicy food.
This one is spicy diced chicken. That's
When I order Indian food, I order vindaloo.
this one is
Very
like,
spicy.
This one like a snack, spicy diced chicken,
Mhm.
and you don't want genital chicken anyway.
Well,
And-
order for yourself if you like. I understand you love it.
And eggplant, potato, bell pepper. Take that one.
Sure.
Try green beans as well.
Well, I'm not a fan of green beans, so
Okay.
you'll be eating those yourself.
Okay. How about the cabbage stir fry? Or you want a tofu?
I'll eat tofu.
Actually, we can try the spicy one.
Sure.
Mapo tofu. Okay. It
Yeah.
has a little bit beef.
Yep.
2 steamed rice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sounds perfect.
Okay. Great. Let me bring this down.
And I will check on my parking. Here you go. Okay.
Let me see. It's still rolling.
I'm curious. Do you have a family of your own?
Yes, so I moved here 16 years ago with my wife.
Yeah.
So 9 years old daughter. So she's born here.
And what are her language skills? Is she? I'm
amazing.
assuming she's Chinese, and I'm assuming she's
French,
speaking both French and English.
Yeah, but she's most comfortable with French. French first, English second, Chinese the third.
Yeah, good for her.
9 years old.
Well, I'm a little bit ahead of you. My daughter is my firstborn. She's 22.
Okay.
I have to share some amazing news with you.
Okay.
Allow me to brag a little bit.
Okay.
I don't get a chance often, and I'm a little bit shy about talking about my kids. I tend to, but I'm going to brag about my daughter. She's just finishing up her undergraduate degree at Mcgill. She's been accepted into the master's program at Cambridge in England. Yeah.
Not Cambridge in Canada.
In England. Cambridge, Oxford. She's accepted to Oxford. Durham University. Lyon University in France. University of Toronto.
Jeez, tough choices.
Mcgill.
Tough
and we're waiting, and she's waiting on UBC.
Jeez.
So she got accepted into the master's program in her field of study in all of those schools. I'm so proud of her.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So that's a good choice.
I
Good
think
tough decision.
We haven't heard back yet from UBC, the University of British Columbia, but I think at this point she's leaning towards U of T.
UFT is that.
University of Toronto.
But
makes me very happy.
Yeah, but for us, like the power branding is Oxford.
Oxford. Oxford.
It's a dream for like a lot of like.
Well, she might change her mind. It depends on the financing, because University of Toronto is offering full financing.
Yeah,
they'll pay for her course and her living expenses. Yeah. So she has quite a very substantial award from the University of Toronto. So to go to Oxford, she would have to have the program covered and her living expenses in London.
You know, we have a bias. Myself, at least, I'm not speaking for a lot of people, but I have a bias, like a stereotype.
A bias, okay.
Yeah. If a university named after a city, it's not that good. You know, that's why the University of Toronto, not that, it's good, not top tier, because like you are using the name of the city.
It's named after the city.
It's a bias. I know it's wrong, but also like you know the people in China would say Toronto because you are the biggest city in Canada. So
is there a university at Beijing?
Yes, but that's the only exception. Is pretty good.
Okay.
Not like Tsinghua.
Yeah.
Always good.
Yeah.
Like, you know, even the worst is the name of the province. If University of Sichuan.
Okay, I've got a very important exception for you.
Yeah.
Have you heard of NYU?
Yeah, New York.
New York University.
But in China, they don't take it seriously.
Yes, but it is very serious. NYU is one of the best schools in the world.
It's always a reputation. If the people, you know, in China, they NYU, it looks like
it's not Harvard.
Yeah, it's not. It's
not Harvard.
You don't have a unique name. You even don't have your name.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a Montreal soccer club. You just got the club the foot. What you don't even have a name. Sometimes before it was called Impact. So people respect you. You have a name. It's Impact. That even it's not that great, but now you don't even have a name.
Well, CF Montreal. But this is soccer, football.
Yeah,
I mean, that's different. You have what are some of the big ones in the UK?
UK probably Manchester United,
Liverpool, Manchester. Yeah. They're named after the cities. Yeah. But we're not talking about schools.
And
I take it back. But this is the first time. This is the first time in my life I've heard somebody say, "Hey, if it's named after the city, it's not that good."
but also, they would think, you know, Mcgill.
Université de Montréal. It's a good school.
But in China, they always, at least my time, a lot of my friends, they think the best university in Canada is Mcgill. They respect Mcgill.
It has brand power.
Yeah,
real
exactly,
brand
power.
Yeah.
But
if someone from China were coming to Canada to go to engineering school, would Mcgill's brand power be as powerful?
I'd probably still go with Mcgill because they can show off to their
because
relatives.
McMaster has a better reputation for engineering.
But you see, I guess half of the population never heard of
even
McMaster.
medicine.
Yeah.
McMaster Medicine now,
Yeah.
I think its reputation is beyond Mcgill.
But a lot of people, they never heard of that. I just recently,
know.
I learned that name maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's the
But if you go to Hamilton and you visit McMaster and you take a walk on the campus, you're going to feel like you're in Beijing. a lot of Chinese people go, because it's got such a great reputation.
It's also, we had another thing is like your university getting powerful or more like a faculty, good faculty, because you have too much money. We call it upstart. The people suddenly get very rich. What is that called? Upstart or the?
Wait, were you talking about entrepreneurs?
Not
Startups.
Not startups. It's the people suddenly get super rich. Before they're very poor, they get super rich.
Nouveau riche.
Yeah. So they get super rich. So they behave like they buy a lot of high-end stuff, showing off their wealth.
Yes.
So that's what we call like sometimes the big city like Toronto suddenly is so big, and then you have a university because of the economic power. So your university get more power and more recognized.
Yeah.
But then the people will suspect the real academic is not that great. So that's the impression of University of Toronto. So because of your city grew so much.
But in Canada, I would say that's not the case.
Yeah.
I would say University of Toronto has an outstanding reputation.
Exactly.
It depends on the program, though.
That's what I'm saying is the bias and the stereotype.
Even in what's a good school for business? Let's say you're going to the university in Kingston. What's the name of the university there?
Queens.
Yeah, Queens. Has an outstanding reputation. Everybody in Canada, if you're studying for an MBA, a Master's in Business, Queens.
You know
or Western.
The Queens get more.
But U of T is probably right there with Queens at the top.
The Queens get more recognized because Elon Musk.
Yes, of course.
Elon Musk got too many fans in China, so where's Elon Musk get the university? First one is Queens, and then University of Pennsylvania. So
did he go to Penn?
Yeah. I guess so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He did not finish. I guess only stayed 2 or 3 years in Queens, and then moved to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I've read that about him. I'm not sure.
And his first stop is in Montreal.
Yes. Yes.
He brought $5,000 Canadian dollars to Montreal.
Well, he's from a wealthy family. No, I don't think they're poor. I don't think
he's a middle class.
Were they middle class?
Yeah, middle class.
And then he ended up. But the thing is, if you're coming from South Africa to Montreal and then you go to Queens, unless he's going on a scholarship, it's very expensive to go to school for foreigners there.
Yeah.
Like you're looking at probably more than $10,000 a year to go to school.
No, he had the travel check. He said probably 5,000 Canadian dollars because his mother was like Canadian. Yeah. But his father kind of bad guy. Like, yeah, bad guy.
Okay, I don't know I've never read the biography, but I have to admit I'm very interested. There aren't very many human beings on the planet building rockets.
Yeah, and also, there was Time of the Year, the Person of the Year of Time magazine, and there was an interview about him. Amazing. And
I don't understand why he's not more respected in the United States. Like I was listening to the president, Joe Biden.
Yeah, that's
he's
kind
talking,
of a joke.
He's talking about Ford and GM and their huge investment in electric vehicles. Like GM is investing $7 billion and Ford is investing 11 or vice versa. Yeah. And he doesn't even mention
Tesla.
Yeah. Why do they not respect him?
No. The reason, very obvious reason, is like Elon Musk does not like union. The
United Auto Workers, UAW?
Yeah. UAW.
Oh,
that's the big reason.
And Joe Biden is a big union man, isn't he?
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you.
Answer your question.
I learned something today.
I'm a big fan of Musk. I watched so many of his interviews.
Elon Musk?
Yeah. His.
Have you heard the interview he did on what the podcast?
Babylon.
No, Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan, yeah.
He did a really interesting 3 hours.
Yeah. No, 3
interviews.
3 episodes. The first one was about 2. And then another one was 2, another one was 3 hours.
I was on a drive from Montreal
it's amazing.
I have family in the Niagara region now. Yeah. All of my family lives close to Niagara Falls, Ontario. So when I go visit them, it's about an 8-hour drive. Yeah. So I have to admit, I'll listen to podcasts or audiobooks when I'm driving. And that one podcast with Joe Rogan talking to Elon Musk I could have listened to it twice.
That
It
was
amazing.
the which one? The 2018, right? The first one got 50 million views on YouTube.
Yeah.
50 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's
Because
a great interview.
like that's the long form. I have this as well. It's the long format podcast, the conversation. If you like the people as great as Elon Musk, if you can talk to somebody 3 hours nonstop, you cannot BS people. That's the all the top people need to sit down with people instead of a news.
Yeah.
So if you can talk to somebody 4 hours, 3 hours, so you cannot fool people. You can have enough time to express your opinion, to explain
who you are is going to come out in 3 hours.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the best format for people to show their authentic themselves.
I love that format,
yeah.
but I have to admit that unless I'm really interested in the person, 3 hours is hard for me.
Exactly. Hours, nobody watches. So only few, very few. But it's
I watched a few of them, but I didn't watch the whole 3 hours.
That will help people to. The long conversation is really great to know somebody.
Thank you.
To know somebody, it's really great. Yeah. So I was
so amazed when I went to your website because when I found Aunt Dave by my followers on TikTok, right? So then I went, okay, I first of all need to know the address, and then I want to look at the menu a little bit. And when I got on your website, I actually didn't even notice your comments on the food. Okay. What I noticed right away was you have this section of it's about Aunt Dave.
Yeah.
So I started reading it right away, and I felt like it felt like the owner was writing something honest.
Yeah.
And then when you got to the point where you say, also, we're doing a video series called Eat with the Owner, and we're looking for people to do that with me, I was like, oh, I'm in. I can't wait, because I wanted to do this kind of thing too, but I want to live stream on TikTok. So when I saw that, I went, okay, I'm going to go eat there. I'll do a TikTok video. And then I spoke with the nice lady who brought the food. And
for me,
I think it's fantastic that you're doing this.
Yeah. For me, it's a little theory.
You should try to get some Montreal Canadians here.
Yeah.
for me, your viewership would go up.
For me, as a little.
Do you mind if I start?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's my own little theory is like I need to experience life. To be honest, I need to know more people because I always think I'm a kind of small student to learn the system, like to learn the society. Okay. So I came here, to see the world.
So this is a sociology experiment.
Exactly. So it's amazing for me because like my English is my second language. A lot of time my vocabulary is not big enough. A lot of expressions I may not appreciate that much. It's cannot understand fully. Mm-hmm. But it's like English. It's a great tool, the language.
How's your French? Can you do this in French?
Not at all. But I can. If I need help, I probably can. Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's like it's amazing. Like I spent like last 20 years to spend a lot of time to learn English, and I need to know what other people are thinking. Like how, because I'm from China. China is we have a great firewall to block the information.
Why?
So
Is it societal or political?
It's political.
Political.
The reason I can never discuss the politics about China, it says something. it's like all the CNN, BBC, all the YouTube channel, Google, they all block there.
So
Gmail.
Censored. Very censored.
Yeah, you can use that word. But for me, it's because we have like that's why I'm very curious when I'm outside of that great firewall. It's very curious. I had have the chance to see how like I have a first-hand knowledge about there, and then I always curious about how everything else, everywhere else, it's different shades of society. Or
I hope to discover it for myself.
Yeah.
Because I told you before we did this that I have an invention.
Yeah.
And it's going to have to be manufactured in China.
Yeah.
So I already found a manufacturer. through somebody that I met at a trade show in the United States.
Yeah.
It was a trade show for sporting goods, sports products. And almost all of the manufacturers that were at the trade show, they were either from China, Taiwan, or South Korea. All those countries. So
it's amazing manufacturing there. It's amazing.
Well, I had a booth. Just where I wanted to test my invention to see what the reaction would be like with professionals. Potentially retail professionals, not consumers. I want to know what the retailers would think. Is my invention something they could sell in their stores? So I invested a little bit of money, and I went to a trade show in Salt Lake City in the United States, a little 10 by 10 booth. And directly across from me was someone from China. And he had backpacks. So they were manufacturing bags. And we talked a little bit, and he was packing up to go back to China. And I said, was it a good show for you? And he went, not really so good. It's too much competition here. He said, there's so many people making backpacks. It's hard to stand out. And I said, did you see what I'm doing? And he said, yes, it's very interesting. And I said, did you see that that my invention is modular? That you can take one thing off and put another thing on. And he said, I saw that. He said, it's very innovative. I said, is that something that you could manufacture for me? And he went, absolutely, we could manufacture that. So I said, okay, give me your information. And we got back, we stayed in touch. He's in Shanghai. And so it was obvious, like the bags, that was easy for him. The quality levels, the big discussion, at which level of quality could he get to for me. But the more important part of the discussion was the invention itself, which is plastic and big. And he was not able to manufacture himself, but he found me a manufacturer. And we did 3 prototypes together, and it's beautiful, just beautiful. So hopefully when the pandemic is over, I can, if I'm fortunate, find the financing to go and get this thing manufactured, and that will be my first trip to China. That's
amazing, because like if you have the connection, some people they just find you more factories inside China. I'm coming from a village, so that's why my experience with all kind of level of development of the society, it's like full stack.
How many people in the village?
I don't know, maybe 1,000, several hundred.
That's small.
Yeah, the village level is small.
Very small.
Yeah, 1,000 maybe.
I thought you were going to say you live in a village of maybe 3 million people.
No, the village is really bad. Village. So I grew up in a village, so very poor. So when I was
in the interior of China,
East Coast.
East Coast.
Not bad, actually. Jiangsu province, not bad. Relatively number 1.
By the way, the hot and sour soup is delicious.
Thank you very much.
It's very good.
Thank you. So even today, the village, we have several factories already. So that the big cities, they close their factory, move them to the small villages. So to dilute the pollutions, maybe. So even the village level right now, my village has several, maybe more than 10 factories, all kind, the kind of doing the metal things, doing all kind of shapes, form, and even my relative doing this. So I asked them, where did you get he was talking to me like for the Chinese New Year.
Right.
They don't need to worry about the buyer. The people in Zhejiang province, Hangzhou, some people there, they have connections to you, maybe some buyers or some people design.
They have sales representatives who they go and they find buyers?
Yeah, so the company in Hangzhou, the big city, where Alibaba is coming from, the headquarters in Hangzhou. And so they talk to different buyers or the market in mainly my relative's factory. They do low quality things, very cheap, very low quality, but they sell them to Thailand, Malaysia, so all these kind of South Asian countries. So they don't worry about the marketing part or even the menu, whatever. It's kind of, they just print stuff there in English, French, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's kind of streamlined. So you just need to find one company So they can find they find different factory to do that.
Well, let me tell you something. With a country as big as China, with as much manufacturing as China has, that's a needle in the haystack.
Yeah.
And for an inventor like me, that was the thing that scared me the most. Because I was using, I had an idea for this invention. And I wanted a digital conception of it. So I needed somebody who could do the engineering and the design work, the CAD work, the computer design. So I found a company in Toronto to do that for me, and they did a beautiful job. But then when I started talking to them about manufacturing, I said, how do we manufacture? And they said, well, we broker that for you. We will find a manufacturer in China for you.
Yeah, broker,
But that means that they are going to take a significant commission.
Yeah, exactly.
And I said, is that a one-time commission? And they said, no.
Royalty.
Royalty.
Yeah.
Every time
Always.
you manufacture, we take a commission.
And that's not easy.
So I didn't say no. But I immediately, common sense, you look for alternatives, just so you can make a good, thank you, just so you can make a nice choice. And I was very, I got so lucky. Going to this trade show in the United States, I found, he's not the manufacturer, but he found me a manufacturer, and he's not taking a commission.
Okay, great.
So I don't know if it's still possible.
Give me
but
1 second, actually not.
We need cups.
Yeah, exactly.
We can use these.
No.
Okay.
That's I forgot to.
Wow, this is incredible. I don't know if you can see everything that's on this table, but I've not had, other than the hot and sour soup and the rice, I've not had any of these dishes before. So I can't wait to try what's here. This looks amazing. I will re-up my parking.
Totally forgot that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, C481. I have to pay for my parking. Actually, wait. 12 minutes left.
Yeah. So we can have this. You can have this.
Thank you.
Welcome. So sake is very, very popular. A lot of sake.
What's the toast in Chinese?
Ganbei. Just ganbei
Ganbei.
means.
Isn't that Japanese?
It's the same.
Same?
Chinese, Koreans, Japanese, they all come from the same culture.
Well, Fei Gang, thank you for the invitation. It's a real pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you for coming. A lot of knowledge.
Well,
yeah. That's why the benefit of having this thing is talk to different people.
Absolutely.
Actually, you can, I guess the 8th episode or the 9th, I'm not sure, is the guy, is a rocket man. He developed the dryer for the hockey stuff.
Really?
Yeah. So there's a dry, also sanitize at the same time.
Yeah.
So he manufactured that. He's a successful businessman. He invented that. He has a company that is called, the brand is called Rocket Man.
Rocket Man?
Like North Korea, like Trump, like I said, you are Rocket Man. The same name, but his term, the brand name, came in before Trump.
Good.
So you can look it up.
I will.
Find the connection to him.
Yeah.
And he has a lot of, he went to China every year before the pandemic. Every year,
Yeah.
all the shows, all the kind of exhibitions,
All the big trade shows.
all the big trade shows, and he's expert on that one. And his stuff is really amazing because the pad takes time to dry.
I have a son who's a goalie.
Yeah, and
in hockey.
There's a thing, and you just put it there, and then also sanitize. Use the ultra purple thing, like to sanitize, and it's dry.
Yeah,
and you can hang it.
Well, we won't be using that anymore unless my son plays recreationally. His hockey career came to an end because of the pandemic.
Okay, yeah, sadly.
Yeah.
So you can connect with that guy.
We should eat.
Yeah.
I'm very, very curious about what we have here. So we'll try a little bit of tofu.
Yeah, that's very spicy.
I love the fact that you have a lazy Susan on this table.
Why is it called lazy Susan? Like,
I think
Emily not lazy.
I don't know. I don't know if there was someone named Susan who invented it, who was too lazy to get up and walk around the table. But there you go. But I love these things.
It's not too good to be associated with
being lazy.
Lazy.
No. I'm being prompted to I'm just going to take care of my parking because if I start eating, I'll forget to, and that's going to be a very expensive lunch for me.
It's easy with app now.
Oh, thank God. And I finally found a good parking spot.
You can try this
I'm
too.
just over 1 block over. Do you know where Uncle Tetsu is?
Oh yeah, I know.
I'm parked right in front of Uncle Tetsu.
Popular.
Yeah, cheesecake.
Yeah. Also, it's from pork belly, so it's kind of great.
This is the pork belly?
Yeah. The twice cooked pork is from pork belly as well.
Okay.
Pork belly is a big thing in Chinese cuisine. Big thing.
Okay.
The fatty part, you have to have a lot of fatty part, the fat.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's not tasting that good.
And do you mix it with the rice, the fatty part, or you just eat it by itself?
It depends on different people. I like mixing them.
Mm-hmm. Bon appetit.
Bon appetit.
See, I knew doing this would be a good idea. I'm discovering different food, something that I would not have ordered by myself. It's absolutely delicious. This is the pork belly.
And also risk-free. You don't have to pay anything.
Thank you.
And have sake.
Mm. So, I have to ask, what do you think of this situation in Ukraine?
That's really bad. Really bad. The war is... But I think the era we're living in, the internet era, so a lot of people connected. Before, ordinary people, they cannot connect to each other. Right now, social media, they can connect to each other. So there's more like consensus of anti-war. So the people are getting smart because at the end of the day, any war started and is the regular people suffer the most. So now is the consensus easy to be reached to see majority of the people, they're against the war.
Mm-hmm.
Before they can fool you. The elite people can fool you.
Yeah.
We fight for something, fight for this, fight for that. But at the end, it's the local people, it's the bottom people, they suffer. They lose their life, they lose their livelihood, they lose their properties. So now is the time. I guess the technology make it easier for people to not be fooled easily. So this could be the best time for the peace, the real peace of the whole as a mankind.
Mm-hmm.
Because every war in the before, they were like fooled by the elite people. So now people they really connected to each other. They know who suffered the most. So if you have majority of people they really against the war is the price of the war is too much for the elite people. It's good time for the technology to make people as a collective it's safer because majority of people they realize it's not good for us.
Mm-hmm.
It may be your dream, but it's not our dream.
Yeah,
We pay the price for the dream.
The average person on the ground in the Ukraine,
yeah, they pay the
they're
price.
Suffering.
They suffer, and you may realize your dream, whatever the dream you have, or the elite dreams. But you know, before World War I, World War II, they all like started with like some guys glory days of this nation or that nation or somebody we humiliated by somebody, and then now it's our time to take the revenge, you know, for the goodness of the nation, for our folks. But then, who paid the price? Now people are getting smarter and smarter, and then not smarter and smarter. They have more channel to know, to communicate with each other. So the bottom people, they know, okay, we feel good now, for like, we feel really good, powerful. But who's gonna pay the price? They getting.
What's your sense of? Have you thought about it? What do you expect the outcome of this? The Russians aren't calling it a war, but it's a war between Russia and the Ukraine. What do you think is going to be the outcome?
I have no idea, but I know the people in Russia, and both people in Russia and Ukraine, they suffer most.
Yeah.
The bottom people, it's.
Do you just dump your rice upside down?
I did that, but sometimes I hold like this mixing.
I just wonder if I'm doing it correctly, or if you're just supposed to take the cup and turn it upside down and dump it on your plate.
Oh, just a lazy step for me.
That's okay. It's good to know that I'm not the only the only lazy eater around.
Nothing is wrong.
Yeah.
This one is very popular. It's the.
What's it called?
It's called Intestine. It's
potatoes and eggplant.
Yeah.
Potatoes, eggplant, and green pepper.
Yeah. That's kind of Intestine literally means like three freshness from the earth.
Trying to get some eggplant. There we go. All right. Well, thank you very much for the invitation. I have to say the food's delicious.
Thank you very much. That's a benefit to me as well.
How did you find a cook, since you're not a cook?
It's not that hard. That's why my theory is I'm not.
It was really good.
I try to be. My personal philosophy is I try to better myself, but I don't guarantee I'm good. I like being mediocre. Mediocre is acceptable for me. But I try to be better, but I cannot guarantee the results.
Not many people are aiming for mediocrity.
Yeah. You cannot be the best, or you cannot be very good. It's just like every day you improve a little bit, or even you backstep a little bit, but you always keep in mind you want to move forward.
Yeah.
That's enough, good enough for me. It's a compromise and a mediocre. For me, it's not negative. I don't think that's, sometimes like even we living in the pandemic, we have to compromise. We have to accept the reality. For me, is the experience living in Montreal is amazing, blessing for me. I know the people here, so we can talk about a lot of things. It's kind of the having a restaurant is experiment to me. I was hooked. At the beginning I thought it was experiment. Then when I lost my full-time job, that's the livelihood of my family. So now I have to be serious. Before I was, playing safe a little bit. Now say as long as not losing money, I was okay with it. It's now I'm full-time. I get hooked.
So, where was the first restaurant? I think you moved.
It's a Côte Neige.
Côte Neige
is a near Jewish hospital.
Okay.
But was lost in a fire, the whole building. Still, the ground is nothing on the ground now. No building now.
And how long have you been at this location?
4 years. A little bit more than 4 years. That's right.
Are you happy about where you moved to? Do you have second thoughts? Maybe something on the West Island?
No way. West Island is not a good spot at least for our kind of cuisine. And
why do you say that?
I don't know, because the first of all, you cannot find a lot of people willing to work there, like for our kitchen or our front. It's very tough to find people they are willing to travel that far to work there.
So you're not going to find staff easily.
Yeah, easily. Yeah.
To go to the West Island.
And also,
I'm assuming your cooking staff is all Chinese.
Yeah, it's the communication. Everything.
Is it a specific region you're looking for your staff from?
Nope, not at all. It's like our food. Like North American is like 1/5 maybe on the menu, or even 1/6 of the North American Chinese food. And other from Sichuan and the Northern, they are very popular regions for the cuisine.
Northern,
yeah. This one typical Northern.
Okay.
and this to northern, and that to Sichuan. Yeah, good balance, 50%.
Mhm.
Because for me, it's like even the customer base is like maybe before the pandemic is 50% Chinese customers, 50% non-Chinese. But I'm really surprised. A lot of non-Chinese customers, they really like authentic Chinese, real Chinese food. A lot of them, they either being to China for a lot of, some of them living there for several years, and some of them they married to Chinese people.
I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah, so a lot of them they really.
China is no longer considered poor.
No,
China
not at all.
is now considered a very, very wealthy country.
Yeah, it is.
And developed.
Yeah.
And word is now, we now understand that major cities in China, they have more advanced infrastructure
Exactly.
than our major cities here in Canada or across the United States.
That's why I always think about how the society develops. Because at the end, you get the rewards of millions of people working every day. That's the factories. Like you have thousands of factories in China, and the people working there 6 days a week, not 5 days. Most of them 6 days or 7 days a week. So the reward coming from the hard working is the whole country get too much wealth, a lot of wealth. So you work for something, so the result is going to show over the time, 10, 20 years.
They're following the same example that we had here in North America. If you think about how, what life was like here when North America was just industrializing.
Yeah.
People work 7 days a week.
Exactly.
There was no such thing as a vacation.
Yeah.
It didn't exist.
But that's why the economic power going to shift to China a lot, or dominating right now, I guess, because the people here, they're not working that much.
Yeah.
It's a cycle. Unfortunately, it's a cycle. When you're getting rich, you're a rich kid, you don't work hard enough. You inherit a lot of good stuff. So you sit there, you enjoy the life. When you are enjoying the life, other side of the world, they're working their ass off. The result is going to balance. They're going to balance off.
Yeah.
It's natural. It's natural.
It is. I agree with you. It's a cycle.
Yeah, it's a cycle.
And the same thing 50 years from now in China or 100 years from now in China, when there's a massive middle class, the children of those middle class people who worked so hard to get what they've got, they're not going to work as hard as their mothers and fathers, and grandmothers and grandfathers. It's just going to be the same cycle.
It's always saying like, I work hard. Something in English, I probably have the same thing. I work so hard in order for my kids, they don't need to work hard, right? Something like that, right?
But then there's a price to pay for not knowing how to work hard.
Exactly. So it's a cycle.
What do they say? It's phenomenally successful families are typically ruined inside 3 generations.
I want to say the same thing. In Chinese, the saying is the wealth cannot pass 3 generations. The wealth cannot pass. You always have some indulged kids, spoiled kids, ruin the whole wealth of the family.
Yeah, if 3 generations later, all the inheritor does is live the life of a playboy, buy airplanes and yachts and villas all over the world.
We have the Chinese ancient wisdom.
It's the beginning of the end.
We have the ancient Chinese wisdom. It's called 30 years East Bank, 30 years West Bank. It's like a river. You have two banks. The East Bank and Western Bank.
Okay.
So 30 years. 30 years ago, you are on Eastern Bank, and then 30 years later, you are on the Western Bank.
So the East Bank is the hard work?
It doesn't
the
matter.
West Bank is the easy life?
It shows the 30 years. You can change opposite.
Back and forth.
Yeah, it's the Chinese thing, for a lot of years. 30 years. 30 years Eastern Bank, 30 years Western Bank.
All right.
So that's how we view things.
I don't think we have that in English. I think it's more generational. It's but the same thing. It takes 3 generations to ruin what the first generation built.
And also we have about unification in the kingdom time, 3 kingdom time. They said if you unified for long, you're gonna split. If you split for long, you're gonna unify. Okay. That's from 2,000 years ago. The kind of words. coming from 2,000 years ago. So the ancient people there, we are not smarter than them. We are the same people. We just get more technology built on what they achieved.
Yeah.
So we are the same IQ level. But the ancient people, they have the philosophy already there. 2,000 years ago, we have the advantage of Chinese language is we can read the same language 2,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So the lot of textbooks, the history books written 2,000 years ago, we can still read them today.
We can't go that far back in English.
Another benefit of being new, like not United States, you being new, you don't have the history burden. You know, that's the benefit of being a new country. It's when you look at the Constitution of the United States, it's amazing, the best document ever in the humankind history. Mm-hmm. If you read that Constitution, it's better than ever, better than United Kingdom, better than Canada, better than anybody else.
It is an amazing framework.
Yeah, exactly.
For organizing a
country,
and creating an opportunity for people.
It's the best piece of article.
I don't understand why Americans complain so much about their
Everybody
country.
Complain. London people, they complain about weather every day.
Yeah.
But they got good weather already. They don't have freezing rain.
But Americans are always complaining about the inequity and how unfair life is in the United States, that the difference between the rich and the poor is so great. I don't know.
To be fair, complaining is a good thing. Because if you stop complaining, you stop progressing. So that's a good thing. If you think about that, what they are doing today, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, United States, they're going to do fine. Because they complain. In Canada, we don't complain. We live with Mr. Trudeau, with his kind of style of leadership. It's kind of weak like hell. The problem is like when people accept that kind of reality, that's when you kind of degrading. You know, that's why I think, because you see the chaotic stuff in the United States, but it shows they are struggling. They try to be better.
They're constantly pushing and pulling.
That's
and
not a bad thing. Yeah.
You make a good point.
It's not
That's
bad
a
thing.
good point.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing.
You know,
you don't struggle, you don't improve. You don't. If you feel like I'm happy today, I'm really happy today, you don't making progress. You are not improving. You have to say, we're not doing good here. We're not doing good there.
I wonder if it's the same for companies.
It's same thing.
Same thing, everything. Right? It's always good to challenge the status quo.
Nobody can achieve a success like sitting there. Like they always say, like when you say eloquently, like the ducks, they kind of swim eloquently, no effort. They just, but look at their legs. They're pushing all the time. You just don't see. And the water, the ducks, they're pushing really hard with their legs, keep moving. But on the surface, they look so elegant, like the swan, like ballet dancing, like so effortlessly. You
don't see the little fury beneath the surface.
Yeah, it's amazing.
What is this again? Is it the one bones?
Yeah, that's.
How do you eat this? With your fingers or with your chopsticks?
It's a skill. It's a skill, and you just kind of nibble. Yeah. Or sometimes use hand is fine. It's not. We're not eating with queen. You're not eating with the queen. But she's doing fine, right?
Is that chicken?
Yeah, chicken leg.
That's good. Very crispy. Crispy on the outside, juicy on the inside.
That's some. If they want to look really nice all the time, like eating like a queen.
Who?
The queen? No, customer. They don't come to our restaurant.
Well, I'm going to use my fingers. I hope you don't mind.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really good. But it takes patience.
Yeah, it's like a snack. It's like KFC.
Do you ever get back to China?
I was lucky to visit once, right before the pandemic.
So 3 years ago?
Yeah, 3 years ago, February 2019. After like 8 months after that, 9 months after that, started with the pandemic, with the virus.
Okay. And how long did you stay?
Only 2 weeks.
Were you visiting family?
Yeah. That time I had my IT job, so that's the vacation time. My daughter was 6 years old. That's the her first time visiting the grandparents from my side.
When you fly, do you go direct from Montreal or?
That time was already good. So we had a direct flight from Montreal to Shanghai. So
Okay.
it's kind of 400 kilometers from Shanghai to my village.
Train or drive?
I had my relative, like in the village, they had a car. So they end up picking me up from Nanjing. So from Shanghai to Nanjing, it's like a 1 hour, like the high-speed train.
Okay.
So from Shanghai airport, I took the high-speed train to Nanjing. So my relative, my cousin, a remote cousin,
Okay.
so drove to Nanjing to pick me up. We had a big family.
Is Nanjing big?
Nanjing is, we call it top tier city.
Okay.
With top tier city inside, within top 10 city
Okay.
in China. Top 10, 15, top 10.
It used to be called Nanking, right?
Nanking, yeah. Like the Beijing means Peking as well. King
Yeah.
is just pronunciation for capital.
Okay.
Like Tokyo, Dongjing is the same pronunciation.
That's another.
Tokyo.
This is another place that I should have visited by now that I haven't.
Tokyo?
Mm.
I haven't been either. So what countries you been?
Um,
I know Canadians, they travel a lot.
Greece,
Okay.
Italy, France, Germany, the UK. So I've been to those countries in Europe. I loved Costa Rica. If you ever want to make a visit to a beautiful country and really enjoy the environment,
Okay.
maybe I think they call them eco vacations.
Yeah.
I can't recommend Costa Rica enough.
Okay.
I went to Costa Rica for 22 days a few years ago with my family, my wife and my 3 kids.
I recommend you try the noodle. Use both of them, the song and the fog.
Okay.
Some sweet
Will do.
potato noodles.
Okay, and I have to say Costa Rica and Greece, 2 of the best places I've ever been. Costa Rica for the diversity, just so beautiful, so spectacular, so much wildlife. We saw crocodiles.
Jeez.
We saw sloth. We saw macaws. Dozens of different kinds of birds, and hummingbirds and insects, snakes, iguanas everywhere. So it was a beautiful country. We were we did both coasts. It's small enough that you can drive from the Caribbean, from the Atlantic side to the Pacific side, easy in 1 day. The Atlantic side of Costa Rica is very rough, very undeveloped, I would say. There's one major city, I think it's called Limon. It's not a place to visit, but everything else from the north all the way down to Boca del Toro in Panama.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, but very hippie, like a bit rough. The west coast on the Pacific is very developed. So you have some resorts and things like that, but you can go down to the south, the very southern end of the west coast to a place called Drake. And that is it feels extremely undeveloped. There's some hostels that you can stay in, but no resorts, no high-end hotels, nothing like that.
But why the country is so divided? Like it's not even. Like it's not evenly developed. Like some
circumstance.
But
I think pure luck.
Really?
Maybe.
But they don't. The federal government or whatever, they kind of
Well, it's more private.
distribute the wealth.
I don't think it's government at all. I think it's private investment. On the West Coast, you have some beautiful, beautiful beaches.
Yeah.
You do on the East Coast as well. But I guess whoever the entrepreneur was that said, I'm going to have a hotel or a resort, were more
but they can-
interested by the West Coast than the East Coast.
But they can.
But the
They-
mountains
they
are
can-
also very beautiful.
But they can develop like the society, whatever they buy taxation to redistribute to help the other regions, right? That's the whole purpose of the taxation, right?
Yeah.
But is that? But it.
I don't get the sense that the government is spending tax money to develop the regions. I think they're creating the circumstances for entrepreneurs to, there we go. They're creating the opportunity, the circumstance for entrepreneurs to develop wherever they want to develop in the country. It's a very small country. So let's say an entrepreneur comes in and they develop an eco hotel in the mountains. Well, you can get from the mountains to San Juan by car in an hour. Go have dinner and go back to your eco hotel up in the mountains very easily. You can also do the same thing on the coast. You can have a place on the mountain, drive down to the coast for dinner, and drive back up to the mountain to go home.
Yeah, that's from the perspective of the tourists. But but how about have you like seeing the people there living there? They're educated. They're very educated. So the living standard is really high. Living standard.
I think
if they get a lot of tourists, they're supposed to do really well, right?
I think they do have a good standard of living. I think like any other country, it has poverty. But from what I understand, I haven't lived there. You have to be careful about making
some statements living really well.
When all you've done is vacation there. It's not fair to say that you know the country. So someone who's living very poorly in a big city like Limon or San Juan, it's not fair to say that they're living an amazing life. Maybe they're not. Wages aren't the same as they are here, but they have one of the world's best medical systems. So, and it's free for everybody. I don't know about the standard of education. I don't think there's a world-class university in Costa Rica. I don't know. But if I were them, I would be developing the university system to support, the classics, but also to try to wrap the environment in it as well, because the country is known for its ecosystems, and it's an environmentally very, very respected and admired country. So, if they are developing San Juan University or whatever the big university is in Costa Rica, I hope that they're including, how do we continue to build the brand, the country brand, around ecotourism. It's going to be good for everybody. All the citizens will benefit from the money that this brings in. And it'll keep the country, I wouldn't say pristine, but it'll keep the country clean.
Another maybe off the topic, as your experience, why, United States, why the university in United States so expensive? That's weird, because they are the richest country, one of the richest country in the world. Why do they keep the ordinary people from entering the university? It looks like a kind of my suspicion is either by people's choice, diverse interest of their own career development. Some people taking the community colleges to take on the trade of manufacturing. But it looks like they're by design it's forcing people to take different career paths.
I don't know.
It's very weird. Every lot of parents you give them if your tuition is very, very affordable or low. At least a lot of kids from poor communities, they at least if they want, they can go. But the reality is, some kids from the poor communities, even they want to pursue the university education, they just simply could not.
Yeah,
it's crazy. we are talking about like Canadians, like our family or something. My friends, we save a lot of money. Sometimes you have to plan. Okay, we save some money for the kids' education. If they want to go to university from United States, that's huge amount of money.
It is a huge amount of money.
Even for the locals, their own
but not all universities cost a huge amount of money in the United States. The one thing about the United States that I admire is the enormity of the opportunity in literally
everywhere.
every component of society. It's 350 million people. China has the same opportunity, but with over 1 billion people, right?
1.4.
1.4 billion. Yeah. So if you think about it, I look at the United States, and I expect if I were to give China any deep thought, I might look at China in the same way. So with a country that big, I think 20% of its people are really, really interesting, forward-thinking, amazing people. 20% of 350 million is 70 million people. That's twice the population of Canada. Really interesting people to know, the kind of people you and I would really enjoy knowing, making friends with, visiting. But there's also 20% of the population who are horrible. That's 70 million people. Twice the population of Canada. Horrible. We wouldn't want to have anything to do with them. And then, of course, there's the middle. Okay, so that's how I look at the United States from a broad perspective. Education, I look at it the same way. Yes, there are horrifyingly expensive universities to go to. Harvard, MIT, Stanford, the blue, the blue blood universities. It's $100,000 a year to go to these schools. But there are also state universities that are $5,000 a year.
Really?
Yes. Sure. You can go to University of Michigan, University of Miami, University of Texas. Every state has a university school, has a state university or a state college.
Let's come back to my point. If you name that with a state name.
I think your point is valid under those circumstances because the state universities, they don't have the same reputation for excellence as the private universities. A great example is North Carolina. Like, if you go to UNC, University of North Carolina, that's a state school.
No.
If you go to Duke, that's a private school. I don't know for sure. I'm assuming it costs a lot more money to go to Duke than UNC.
Duke got very famous for the NCAA.
Basketball.
Yeah, NCAA, Duke.
Of course. Yeah. The Duke Blue Devils, I think they're called.
Yeah.
I used to watch a lot of basketball when I was younger. I don't anymore. But I used to really enjoy the Final Four. And I would watch Duke and UNC and that rivalry. So I think one of the things I love about the United States is I do think, regardless of who you are or your station in life, there's an opportunity for you. You aren't going to be systematically crushed by a system that will not let you proceed or progress.
You have a niche. You have a niche, and also the little kind of cave above you to protect you being crushed.
Yeah.
That's a nice thing to. You can always find a crack to live in, and that crack gonna save you.
And I think
it's shelter.
The other cool thing about the United States, you know how you said, I don't care about being the best at anything. Yeah. I'm okay with being mediocre. Yeah. You know what? If you run a business in the United States and it's a mediocre business, you can have you'll do more than survive. Yeah. If I work hard in a business of some sort, whether I own the business or I work for somebody else, you have a better chance of having a good life than a bad life.
Yeah,
you still have to be responsible for your personal choices. Yeah. Lots of people make bad personal choices, drugs and crime and stupidity. But I mean, I quite like the United States. I know a lot of people hate it. I'm not a big fan of their military and their global activities. I'll put it that way. I'm not a fan of it, and I think there's a lot of hypocrisy that they live with. But I think it's a fascinating country. It's completely unique.
That's why I think
Completely
I
unique.
guess it starts with that the textbook of the Constitution. That thing is amazing. If you look, I'm like, as always being a student, I look at that. That's kind of really amazing. The first of its kind for the mankind.
Well, no. The English had the Magna Carta.
It's a law. It's a constitution.
It is very similar to a constitution. Yes, it's separated. It separated the monarchy from elected representatives.
That's an invention. That's an invention.
It was an invention, and it's a
That's
very
a compromise.
But it was a means of organizing a way to live in a country that wasn't entirely a monarchy. So think about the people who created the Declaration of Independence. Believe me, they read the Magna Carta before they wrote the Declaration of Independence. Or if they didn't read it, they were certainly aware of it and influenced to some extent by it. And aren't there other documents that existed around the world that people govern themselves? Like, I don't know anything about Chinese history or Indian history.
But it's not like
it's not codified quite the same way as the
and also like the bad thing like about United States for me is they openly talk about so many different opinions. I listen to so different podcasts, so different. They're all spectrum. They cover the whole spectrum. That's amazing. The ideas of people's ideas, even doesn't matter it's wrong or right or you like or not. But you see, they are all available there.
They are.
That's why I think Canada, it's so poor on this front. So you don't have those lot of that kind of crazy opinions, that podcast, like a lot of things official from mainstream, like you have the big corporation media, not the state, like BBC, CBC is state, owned, like they found it fully, which is really nice. I learned a lot of English from that.
From BBC?
From CBC.
Oh, CBC.
I learned a lot I listen to radio every day to improve my English.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But you look at America, United States, they have the individual, like, podcasts, like, that's amazing. They have the opinions. The keeping people moving forward together collectively, you have to have those kind of crazy ideas. One of them could be right.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I think the exploration of ideas in the United States is so valuable. It's not to say that those ideas aren't happening anywhere else in the world. They are. Everywhere around the world, people are having ideas and expressing their thoughts and opinions, in some places just as freely as in the United States. But you don't see them being broadcast out to the world with the same.
It's amazing.
I don't want to say power, but the voice is so loud coming out of the United States,
Because they're leading.
It gets heard around the world. Whereas a voice from Chile or Peru or Guatemala might be a great idea, but the world isn't hearing it.
Yeah, exactly. So but at the same time, they are so powerful because they produce so many different opinions. If you don't produce in the history, don't produce that kind of a variety of opinions, they don't listen to you.
I think that's the thing that me, as someone living outside the United States, that's what I value most about it. That's the thing I admire most about the United States, is the constant creativity, whether it's music, literature, art, business. I can go on and on and on. It's such an inventive society. And if you look at some of the greatest inventions of just the last 50 years, so much of it is coming out of the United States. It just boggles the mind. Google, Apple, Microsoft, even Tesla. The guy's South African, He spent a little bit of time in Canada,
Yeah.
but he invested in PayPal, used that money to invent Tesla
and
and
SpaceX.
SpaceX.
Yeah, two companies.
And part of that, Fei Gang, I think, is the magnitude of the American economy. When you have a good idea there, the massive explosion, potential explosion of wealth that can come from having a great idea, it's unparalleled anywhere else in the world. It's starting to happen in China.
Yeah.
Guys like the guy who runs Alibaba,
Jack Ma.
Jack Ma. He had a great idea,
Yeah.
right? 50 years ago, that brilliant idea wouldn't have made him the billionaire that he is today in today's China. But because that economy is
He's huge.
bigger than the U.S. economy
but
now.
Jack Ma is huge trouble right now as we speak.
He's
huge.
what? Big trouble?
Big trouble. Problem.
Yeah, but he might be in big trouble. But the point is, his idea, by having it in the market that he was in,
the market is huge.
Yes.
It helps.
It created the possibility of his idea turning him into a global billionaire. If he had that great idea in Peru or Chile or Costa Rica.
Even Canada.
Even Canada. He wouldn't have, and that's why I say it's great. You're very fortunate if you live in the United States and you're inventive or entrepreneurial or creative in some way, shape, or form, even musician, is the opportunity for that creative brilliance to have an exponential benefit is unbelievable.
For me, the bad thing is about the ideas, because as a small business owner, I cut vegetables every day in the restaurant. So every time I was listening to a podcast, that's the best way for me, or the easiest to improve my English. So I listen to a lot of podcasts from United. But every time when I listen to any content in Canada, it just does not have that attraction at all. So especially in Montreal, it's like zero. Like not so many people talking about topics.
You have to remember, you have a disadvantage, and I have a disadvantage.
Yeah.
We're probably not listening to French podcasts.
Yeah, but in Montreal, there's a lot of English population. My French is not that level to understand their I still listen to the Radio Canada, the app, but I just get the emotion to try to get the rhythm of the language. But the problem is, even the English language, we're supposed to have in Montreal or Toronto, they have lot of very interesting ideas, but we just don't have so many. We have some, but not so interesting, attract me, to pull me. I really like local stuff.
Yeah.
But the problem is not so many interesting conversations happening here.
You know what? You're making a really interesting point. I hadn't thought about it before. On my my social media, my choice is TikTok. It's the one I prefer. One of the things that surprised me was how many French people are following my TikTok. And I'm doing it in English. And then some people get a little bit upset and they say, hey, this is Quebec. Why aren't you doing your TikTok in French? I guess some of them try
to learn English, improve English.
I don't think so.
Really?
I just don't think there's that many people doing what I'm doing. And I was like, some people, I would get a comment or two saying, hey, why don't you do you're in Quebec, why don't you do your...
In French.
Why aren't you doing it in French? Like, well, because I'm expressing my opinions very quickly and freely in the language I'm most comfortable with. And I'm okay if the people who are listening to it are English. I'm fine with that. It didn't occur to me to even care who was going to hear it or not. It was kind of a bit of a circumstance for it to happen anyway. But then I thought to myself, why are you complaining about my TikToks being in English? There must be 100 people doing what I'm doing in French.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't think so. So maybe someone out there should be, if they're not.
Hey, actually, but why did you choose TikTok? When did you start, actually?
That's an interesting story. Almost 2 years ago.
Okay.
I'd heard about it, and I wanted to see what it was like. My children said, Papa.
No way. You're too old for that.
Too old.
Yeah, I would just say that.
You don't go on TikTok. It's all young girls dancing and trying to look sexy. So if you go on TikTok, you're a dirty old man.
Yeah.
You know? And I went on TikTok, and at the beginning, when you just get on, you see a little bit of young girls dancing. But then if you go into the search bar and you type in restaurants or sports or something else, books, like I'm very interested in books. So I started seeing all kinds of videos that I loved. And the algorithm is so smart that it started to feed me with videos that I loved. And they're very short. You know, in the beginning they were, was it 30, what were they, 30 seconds, I think? Maybe 15 seconds in the beginning, then 30, then 3 minutes. Or they went to a minute and then 3. So I got hooked watching the videos, and because the algorithm was so good. And one day, a year ago, I was in Verdun getting my beard trimmed, and it was 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the afternoon. I was starving. I hadn't eaten. I needed something to eat, and I was going to go to a barbecue place that I know, Blackstrap Barbecue. They were closed. They didn't open until 4 o'clock because of the pandemic.
Okay.
So directly, like just down the street, I pointed my car down the street and said, I'm going to find something. Something's going to be open. And I found a restaurant that I'd never seen before called Jack Lecoq. Never heard of it, never saw it, but I thought, you can't mess up a chicken sandwich. It's impossible. So I'm just going to get a chicken sandwich. So I walked in, and it was completely unique. Like, I hadn't seen anything like this before in Montreal. Very I want to say almost 1950s American diner. You know, pastel, like pink and green and interesting colors. And the people at the counter were all in a uniform. And when I walked in the door, they waved to me. This is a little different. That doesn't happen. So I walked up and they said, what can we do for you today, sir? I said, well, it's my first time here. A chicken sandwich. What do you recommend? And they said, well, it's your first time here, so why don't you get the $7.95 chicken sandwich. It comes with French fries. So I did that, brought it back to my car, and I went, I've got my phone. I'm going to videotape this. So I videoed the outside, videoed the inside, set my phone up inside the car, and I videotaped myself. I did a video of myself eating this food from Jack Lecoq.
Yeah. So that's how it started.
Posted it to TikTok, and within a week, I had 120,000 views.
Really?
120,000. And I went back to get another sandwich, and the owners, when they saw me out in line, there was a little lineup, they came out to me, and they said, are you the guy who did that video? I said, are you talking about the one where the chicken where I'm eating it in my car? He said, yeah. He said, was that you? And I went, yeah, that's me. He goes, okay, you don't pay here anymore. He said, we weren't actually open when you walked in. It was a soft opening.
Oh, soft opening.
We were just testing. Not even sure about our recipes. And we said, you had us lined up for 2 weeks.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So then he said, you helped us so much. We just want to thank you. You really helped us. And so I thought to myself, maybe I can, no. I said, I can help. Maybe I can help. Like if I can help these guys, maybe I can help other small businesses. So then I went to another place down the street called Bosa. If you like sandwiches, go to Bosa. I promise you, you're going to love them. I did a video, same deal. Videotaped myself in front of the place, walked in, videotaped myself having a sandwich. It was amazing. Oh my God, it was such a good sandwich. And 65,000 views. So that got me the idea that I could help small businesses. I would just go, and listen, some places I went to weren't very good. I just didn't do a video. There's no point in making life harder for somebody who's already struggling. I've been an entrepreneur. I know how hard it can be. I've had a small business.
Yeah, that's for me. If I don't like it, I probably keep quiet.
I just keep quiet. People are always asking me, why are all of your reviews positive? And the reason is, I don't post the bad experiences because I don't want to hurt someone's business. So my whole point has been, my little catchphrase is, stand tall for Montreal. And I've been trying to use my TikTok account to go and help small businesses by driving people out. Get out of your house, even if you don't eat at the restaurant, order something, bring it home, eat it in your car. And the places I go that aren't restaurants, I try to do a little plug for them too.
That's great.
So that's how I got into TikTok.
And
I love it. I don't have a big following. I've only got 11,700 people, but I'm having a good time.
That's amazing.
They're having a good time, and we're doing something good.
You want to upload this?
Yeah, sure. Think I've still got some here. Thanks for the offer. Whoops.
No, I feel this one.
Oh, okay.
It's a two-step thing now.
So that's the point. Now, at some point, hopefully, if I'm lucky, There'll be a little I hope the shoe will be on my foot, because someday I'm going to take my invention and I'm going to go do a Kickstarter, and I'm going to go to my following and anybody else that I've, maybe the businesses too, and say, guys, I'm doing a Kickstarter video for my invention. Can you think about sending my video to 10 people and maybe I can get it funded that way.
Yeah, that would be great. But actually, I always had the impression TikTok is for short videos. But you said your video, like last time we talked, you said it could be a 1 hour live stream.
No. It's maximum 10 minutes.
Oh, 10
And this just starting.
Okay.
It's not available yet. Right now it's 5-minute max.
Oh yeah, that's so my impression was right. All short
and now
videos.
It's coming to 10 minutes, and it's because they're going to try to compete with YouTube.
YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, because all the TikTok content creators, they say, if you'd like to see more of my video, go to my YouTube or go to my Instagram.
Oh, I see.
And TikTok is trying to figure out a way to fix that.
Yeah.
So the first step is 10-minute videos.
Yeah.
But
TikTok, like it's it's from China, right?
Yeah.
In China it's called Douyin. That one, like the founder is Zhang Yiming. We all know this guy. This guy is genius. He's the first time using the video platform to use the AI technology.
Okay.
So AI is get you hooked, get you addicted.
Yes.
So like when you watch this video, so the background algorithm gonna find out what's your interests are. So your interests, they're gonna push you, like send you more, recommend you more videos like with the same interest. So in China, like last time I visited, like it's in China, it's totally two different like companies now, which the TikTok and the Douyin, Chinese version called Douyin, it's the same company, but they separate them because of the United States, the rules. In China, there's a firewall, firewall. So the Chinese version and the non-Chinese version. So when 2019 at the beginning, I visit China. All the young kids, my nephews, nieces, they all like doing the very short. They're doing the haircut. They're doing the crazy stuff. Somebody sing crazily.
Yeah.
So it's that's why. But some reason I never. Your video probably the first TikTok video I ever watched.
Really?
Yeah, I don't watch TikTok or the Douyin Chinese version. I don't watch any of them.
It's probably
Because for me, it's my time. I always like the long conversation about some ideas, opinions, or the interview. Almost 80-90% of the interviews Elon Musk ever done, I watched all of them.
Yeah.
So I like the kind of real long conversation. So for the hairstyle, the kind of cooking, the very 30 minutes, 30 seconds, 1 minute, it's not for me. I like the TED Talks at the beginning.
Yeah, at the beginning I liked them too, but not so much anymore.
Not so much. For me, the same. But the podcast, long format, and also the YouTube, like I can watch 30 minutes to understand. So the TikTok was never my thing. Even last year, like we got little bit reported by media. I was on CTV 4 times.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people told me you have to have a video on the TikTok. So it never occurred to me, because for me, I always had the impression I have to have a long format, 30 minutes or 2 hours, 3 hours. So
well, if you were doing a cooking class or an introduction to Chinese cuisine or something like that, I think your 30-minute, 60-minute format would be much better than TikTok.
Yeah.
Although I know some chefs became famous on TikTok.
On the TikTok, TikTok is huge. Yeah.
There's a guy named Sunny Hurl, I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name, but I started watching him cooking, and he was doing 30 seconds, 60 seconds, and it was absolutely amazing.
It is. It's
amazing. Like, he made me want to cook.
Yeah, it's amazing. TikTok is doing right now. It's if you catch even the Premier Legault, Francois Legault is asking what channels to follow on the TikTok.
It's a nice way to stay in touch with what's going on in your world.
I guess his idea is to catch the young people for the voting. Like today, you are not old enough, 18 yet, but next cycle, 4 years later, you will be old enough. So I better to catch you now.
Yeah.
So that's
well. If you had, like, I'm not suggesting it to you, but if let's say your format's YouTube, right? If you wanted to drive more attention to your restaurant and have more people come here, I would think that TikTok is going to be a better means of achieving that because people don't have to pay too much attention. They can spend and be convinced inside 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Most people have, I come from the advertising business.
Yeah.
I spent my entire career has been in advertising. People have very short attention spans,
exactly.
and they make decisions very, very quickly.
Very quick. Yeah.
Mostly because they want to. We're hot wired. It's in our genetic code to make decisions fast, and the faster we can make good decisions, the happier we are. So if you can persuade someone inside 60 seconds that Aunt Day is the best Chinese food experience in Montreal, not the best, one of the most interesting, let's put it that way, a unique experience, something you're not going to have in Chinatown. You would achieve that faster on TikTok than you would on YouTube.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. I totally believe.
And then the sharing, the amount of sharing that goes on, like people tag each other instantaneously in TikTok. I'm not sure about how that works in YouTube. I don't think it's the same.
Not at all. No,
I don't think it's going to work that way.
No.
I think people share YouTube URLs on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, a lot of Twitter, like a ton of Twitter drives you to YouTube, right? I think a lot of people go to YouTube after seeing something on Twitter. And they just, link to it directly out of Twitter.
Yeah, the problem is like I always want to be crazy, to be different from like people think that's like the easy way to do it or the logical way to do it. I always want to do the opposite.
Yeah.
That's my nature. And also I think if we get a lot of attention something, we cannot live up to it, to be honest. It's like if we get a lot of customers, I don't think I can manage that well.
In the beginning.
Even
after having a lot of customers for 6 months, you would change your process.
Even the kitchen, something I don't think we can handle. And also, I don't want to be like kind of the normal person. I want to be very different. I want to do a little bit unique, like crazy way. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like doing this long format thing, like not many people watching, but I don't want to go very kind of to get attention there. And people always, you can't go this direction. But I do the opposite.
Yeah.
To leave. But it depends on the pressure. If one day, if the restaurant cannot provide the basic income for the family, if they push me to do something crazy or to get the attention of people, probably I would do that as well.
Yeah.
But as long as I'm living okay, I would do something I really like to be different.
Yeah.
But some situation force you to I was laid off. Before I was cruising, It's like, it's fine. I have weekly paycheck from the company. So the restaurant was not losing money. I was happy, even though the restaurant was not doing, the quality is on and off, hit or miss. Seriously, sometimes I know myself.
Yeah.
So I say, today it's like some people, if you're not in the kitchen, not in the restaurant, sometimes, the staff, they have even the argument among themselves. Sometimes if you don't fix it right at the beginning, and it's getting bigger and bigger. Sometimes we did have that 8 years of some drama, at least 8 years of business.
I'm owning a restaurant. There must be lots of drama over 8 years.
Yeah, 8 years. So I was that's why I don't want to push a lot of things to extreme. That's why I was living okay, not bad. But the situation changed. Like when I was laid off from the company, literally the family lost the the stable income. So I need to think about, okay, the restaurant support the family or not? But if not, I need to think about, okay.
Well, there are restaurants, obviously, that support families very comfortably. So I think the answer to the question is it depends on what you're going to do with the restaurant. It can support it. Like there's lots of restaurants in Montreal that are doing really well. Like the one I went to yesterday, I went to Capital, this little place for burgers. They're opening up a second location on Avenue Montreal at Saint Laurent. Their LaSalle location is very small.
But without the pandemic, we will be fine. But the pandemic is really bad. Pandemic. We are doing okay. We still survived. Last year we were okay with with the whole thing. But the problem is the pandemic just get the profit margin almost kind of crazy. They just slash the profit margin. So that's why I work.
Did the price of your goods go up?
The cost went up crazy.
Yeah, and your business did not go up.
Business go up a little bit, went
A
up
little bit.
thanks to the media coverage. Actually, that was big thing. Was helping us. Otherwise, probably, I guess I would be kind of mentally so tired.
Yeah.
To probably would give up at some point if drags on like that, on like for 2 or 3 years like that.
Yeah, I can
But
imagine.
now it kind of renewed the hope.
Yeah.
Like the beginning of 2021, the media coverage brought more customers.
Yeah.
So give me kind of new hope.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it's tough business.
Well, I have to tell you, you have people who love your restaurant out there who recommended it very highly to me. One person says it's their favorite restaurant in all of Montreal.
Yeah.
Not just Chinese.
Yeah.
Favorite restaurant.
We got some good. It's for me, my personal. I want to do like one stone, lot of birds. I can try to be myself, also try to make a living. It's kind
Of course.
try to be myself, to be a little bit honest, and then to know people, and then to exchange ideas, to really help me to understand. Even I think the life is really short, and I want to understand how the whole world is organized, how different people choose their style of living, the form of the government, the city level. I want to understand how it's working, how it's working different, very different in the world. I come from China. If you want to know about China, I can talk to you privately, and it's whole different. It's like 180 degrees opposite. Some of that in the different form of government and form of society. That's always fascinating to me.
I'm lost when it comes to China. I grew up in a world where China, and it's no more. No. I have to drive home. China, and I still have to do a little bit of work later on today. But I grew up in a world where we looked at countries like China, communism, and Russia, when it was the Soviet Union, and we said, they've got a terrible system for living life because it keeps millions of people in poverty, and life is so structured that there's no way to escape it. What I'm amazed by is China has evolved from what I thought it was back in the 1970s and the 1980s. It's evolved to the point now where it's the world's biggest economy. And you have, like, all we have to do in the fall is go up on Highway 15 and see tour bus after tour bus after tour bus full of Chinese tourists to understand that the money is not concentrated with just a few people. It has distributed
the middle class
to the middle class, and they can now travel the world, and they can go to Paris and London and Rome and New York and Montreal. So that what I don't understand is how the Chinese have taken communism and added in what appears to be a capitalist component to it and made it work.
Yeah.
It leads me to believe that our perception of the form of government they're using to organize life, it's not the black and white communist, the definition we've got of it. I have a feeling we've all got the wrong idea here about what communism really means in China. Like, I don't understand it anymore.
That probably we can talk about a little bit later. But sometimes you need to know the language. That's why I spent a huge amount of time learning English and listen to American talk shows, because that's like I'm always a student to like English is my second language. So my English is already good enough to understand all the topics they're talking about, all the stuff. So that's really, I'm super happy right now at this stage of my life.
Yeah.
Because I kind of know China inside out already. So I want to know Canada, United States, UK. UK is not a big topic, but the United States mainly. Like, it's amazing. But that's why I'm saying the language is very important. But for a lot of folks, Chinese language is so difficult to learn.
Yeah.
So difficult.
Yeah, like I've heard of people who start learning Mandarin at a young age and pick it up like that. But as a fully grown adult,
it's very,
I would
very hard.
so intimidated, I wouldn't even want to try.
Yeah. French is the same thing. I started learning French like 12, 13 years ago before I had the baby. So I want to get some level of French before the baby was born.
Yeah.
So I started self-learning a lot.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time. My friend at the beginning was right now I'm comfortable with French things.
Yeah.
You know, very comfortable. Like at the beginning was mentally resisting in my head. Like what the hell?
Yeah.
So but now I'm comfortable. But I'm just in the stage of like increase the vocabulary and the way I can listen.
I'm comfortable. I didn't really start learning until I was 39. That's when I moved here for good. Yeah. And I have 3 children. And so what we agreed on before the children was, okay, when we have kids, how do we, what do we imagine life will be like? And the idea was, let's live in a bilingual house. So my wife, she speaks French and I speak English. Let's send the kids to French school for primary and secondary, and then and probably CEGEP too, although not for sure. But then when it comes time to go to university, they go to English university, so that both languages are completely mastered. In hindsight, I think we were very wise to do that, because when you hear my children speak French, you would not know that they speak English.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Their French is French. It's Quebecois French. When they speak English, you wouldn't suspect that they can speak French. Their English sounds exactly like mine does. I know another family with exactly the same number of kids, and what they did was they said the father was English, the mother was French. They said, we're going to live life in French. We live in Quebec, only French. The price to pay, each of the 3 kids speaks English with difficulty. They struggle with it. And so I think that, they're going to live a very, very fruitful life here in Quebec, but their opportunity outside Quebec,
it's
unless their English improves, it will be a little bit limited by the struggle with the language.
Yeah, I guess the best part of Montreal is really like for the kids. Naturally, if you open mind or whatever, like French English will be very natural for them. Very, very natural.
Yeah.
It's amazing when you go everywhere in the United States.
But when you impose one language,
that's not.
There's a little bit of a price to pay there, and that's what they did in this other household. It was French only. Now, I'm not saying our way was the best way, but it did work out well for my kids. They speak perfect French. They read and write perfect French, and it's exactly the same in English.
I guess
I wish I could say the same for myself.
It's a time, like even a lot of Chinese people, like I'm from countryside. We started the secondary school. We started English. First time I listened to the ABCD, the letters. We laughed. I was punished in this class. I heard the sound from the teacher. It was a joke or something. Like I was other class. We were talking bad language about the sound. So then we immediately got caught, and then we brought to the front. And one guy was smashed. Oh, seriously, at that time on the countryside. So that's the first time.
I got smacked as a kid too, but I grew up in a different era. In the 1960s, it was okay to whack a kid.
It's the same. Like 1980s in China, the rural side is the same. We were beaten like crazy, beaten physically, and that time, like we were exposed to English, but 10 years later than me, all the kids, the primary, even the kindergarten, they had English classes in China. So the English is kind of an international language. So it's kind of the thing is globalization. Is you're born here, you are not restricted here whole life. You're born here, probably like myself. I born in China, the village. So I lived in Canada now. I'm a citizen, a Canadian citizen. So you don't restrict people the movement. It's supposed to be free movement. The border it's a border, but some people, if you cross it through legal process, and then you don't want to restrict, at the end it's the earth is too small. And
when you came, did you come with your wife?
Yeah, we came together.
I thought maybe you met her here. So were you married in China?
We met in campus, university campus.
Okay.
Long time.
Cool. I still can't figure out how you ended up in Montreal. Like most people from China, Thinking of
Toronto,
coming to Canada, Vancouver
Vancouver.
or Toronto?
No, Vancouver mainly for the rich people. They had already. They don't worry about their income.
No.
So Vancouver. So Toronto is for more engineers, for more technical, like professionals. So you make a good salary there and raise your family.
Yeah.
And Montreal is like maybe the second choice of the, it's easier at the beginning, the 10 years ago, 15, 16 years, it's fast, little bit.
Nobody thinks about Calgary or Edmonton or Winnipeg.
That would be on the side.
Yeah.
It's always like, it's like a bias, It's always the bias.
Yeah.
It depends on a lot of people in China, they heard about Canada, like two biggest city,
Yeah.
two biggest, and Montreal, Toronto,
Yeah.
and then the third one was Vancouver. But Vancouver is, we all have the impression for rich people.
It's for rich people.
Yeah.
Well, and we do too.
Yeah.
And what we hear is very wealthy people from Hong Kong buy real estate.
Yeah.
They're not buying a place to
Even
live.
the mainland,
They buy real
rich
estate.
people.
And the point was, if Hong Kong goes communist and becomes repressive, they've got a place to go live.
Even now it's mainland, a lot of mainland millionaires, they all go to Vancouver. Like if they had a choice, but Montreal, they have benefits of immigration. It's like the Quebec city, Quebec province.
Yeah.
They have their own program, CSQ.
Yeah.
So it's fast tracked than federal level. So if you are federal, all other provinces, that time was typically 1 year slower. The whole process 1 year longer than Quebec program.
Yeah.
So that's the benefit of immigrating.
I wanted to just mention one more thing to you before we run out of time. You were talking about you want to know how the whole world works, and you're very curious to know how people live in different. Can I make a suggestion? Look at Africa.
Africa is crazy.
I know.
It's overlooked by a lot of people.
Overlooked.
Yeah, by a lot of.
But did you know that?
How's South Africa? A lot of people, they said that after Mandela, some people saying it's worse, some people saying it's better.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I've never been anywhere in Africa. I've never. I've never been to South America.
Yeah.
I got close. I was on an island vacation.
I was in Rio de Janeiro for 4 months.
Where?
I was Rio de Janeiro.
Oh, I'm jealous.
Yeah.
That is on my bucket list.
It's the best city in the world.
Oh.
Unless I haven't been in Hawaii. I guess maybe Hawaii is better than Rio de Janeiro, but probably the number one.
I don't think the culture would be as interesting.
Yeah, it would be very dynamic, really. Yeah. But at the same time, I think overall, the country is very divided. It's not equal. The people, you see, even in the Rio de Janeiro, the people rich like hell. They live really well. On the same 5 kilometers away, or even 1 kilometer away, and you have the people living like the eco slum.
What I find fascinating about Africa is, I want to say 70%, but it might be 60%. The vast majority of people in Africa, the continent, are under 20.
Yeah, because they don't live long.
No, they don't. They have very short lifespans. But what else is interesting is everybody perceives Africa as undeveloped or third world. And there's a wonderful book called Factfulness by a guy named Hans Rosling. And in this book, he talks a little bit about the misconception that we all have about Africa. We all look at Africa like it was back in 1980. It's not the same. And he said Africa is going to develop like China developed, but it's going to be so under the radar because no one is going to expect it. Everybody expected China to develop. Everyone could see it coming. No one sees Africa coming. So for me, that to me is the most interesting place in the world.
Yeah. But are they gonna really realizing like, because that's the.
It depends. It needs a revolutionary. Like Mao Zedong?
Yeah.
How he revolutionized China and the entire country, with the exception of Chiang Kai-shek and the people that went to Taiwan, he galvanized 1 billion people, and they all followed his vision, right? Mao Zedong.
Yeah.
Africa needs somebody like that, who could galvanize the whole continent. What makes it really complicated, though, is there's so many countries. in Africa, and every country has its own little leadership dreams. You know, the political leadership of Rwanda probably doesn't agree with the political leadership of the Congo or Zaire or Nigeria or Libya, on and on and on and on. Whereas Mao Zedong had one country, and he just had to galvanize the people inside one country.
It could be the aspiration of the elite. If the aspiration of the elite, they think for the benefits of the collective, and that could lead to something, you know, prosperous or the strong country. But a lot of times, I don't think the elite people are gonna care that much.
They've tried it in the past in Africa. I know there have been some efforts to create a Pan-African Union, and the people who lead these things tend to get assassinated. So I think Africa is interesting. If there's one region of the world, and I just say it just fascinates me, it would be Africa. Only because the opportunity is incredible, but the circumstances are bizarre. I have no idea what to expect out of Africa, but it's the one place I find truly
It's not
fascinating.
a continent. It's like individual country. Like this, you have to be one by one, but it depends what happened in that country. Like the last time I had sitting over there, there's two families from Argentina. I will have I talk a lot of customers, like talk crazy, sometimes even political.
Yeah.
Like two of them, I said, they said two families, they are in their 40s, 50s. They moved here a little bit longer than me. I asked them, why did you immigrate to Canada from Argentina? Argentina is nice, democratic, okay country.
Yeah.
They said it's so corrupted.
Yeah.
And then they explained me why it's corrupted and nobody even cared. So, but it's like if you benefit, like your family or whose family benefit from the system, so they don't care about, you know, the overall how the country is performing.
Yeah.
You know, but like the people, they had the disadvantage or they feel they're unfairly treated in the economic distribution system. So they say, like, over time, if they had the chance to move out, so they, like those two families, they just moved out to Canada.
Yeah.
For them, it comes back to I think it's the tradition for a lot of countries. When you had the power for the country like China, Japan, they always knew anybody ruling the country that had the ruling class, they knew the history showed them already. We've been there. We've been in the glorious country. So you kind of have the obligation to revive that, to relive, to make the country strong.
Yeah.
So if you cannot deliver that, or you are not trying, somebody else is going to put you out. So, but for African countries or the South American countries, they did not have that in the history book. So did not have somebody to look up to. So we used to be empire. China was a huge empire. The dynasty Han, the Han, we call it Hanren, with the ethnic Han.
Yeah.
Because we call it Han, because we at the 2,000 years ago, we were used to like United States.
Yeah.
You go to deal with other barbarian people, you said, we are Han people, ethnic Han.
Yeah.
So you look up, you don't kind of offend us any slight way.
Right.
So that's why we call Han people. Even today, our Chinese character, we call it Hanzi, like Han.
Oh, really?
Everything Han, because that time, we were rich, super rich the country.
Yeah.
But the two emperors, the grandfather and the father of that emperor, they built a lot of wealth, China. But they had to Hans, they have to make the Hans arranged marriage with, they have to send the princess to marry the Han, the Hans, right? Hans.
Yeah.
So they feel for this emperor, like when he took the throne, he sent the whole army to eliminate the whole Hans. The Hans was going to Europe. So end up the whip of the god.
Okay.
The Attila, whatever the name.
Attila the Hun.
Yeah, Attila.
Yes.
The Hans. That guy, his cousin, grandparents, father, all killed by Chinese.
Yeah.
Because they were living in the north of the China Empire.
Yeah.
And then his whole tribe was swiped out.
Really?
And they
were challenging China, weren't they?
Well, they were always
and raiding
harassing,
and raiding down
all
into
the time.
China.
So the grandfather emperor and the father emperor, they living peacefully with that. But
Yeah.
they were harassed. They had to send the princess to marry their princess, the prince. So they feel we are so strong. So why we kind of make deals with you? So when this emperor, we call it Han Wudi, is martial emperor. They always come with a name after his death.
Yeah.
So this is called Han Wudi, the martial emperor. So when he was in power, he sent huge army to just go to their headquarters, go to the capital, destroy all of them. They captured maybe several of the emperors, the kings.
Yeah.
Decapitated, killed them. So that's why the Huns, they will ever disappear.
So the Huns, they
the Huns,
they just
they disappeared from the north.
from Mongolia.
Yeah, from Mongolia, they totally disappeared from Chinese. But then they came the tribes. The other tribes came back. The Mongolians.
Yes.
They conquered our country to China.
That would be Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan and Kublai.
Yeah.
So
Kublai Khan.
Yeah, Kublai Khan was the emperor of Yuan dynasty, China's Yuan dynasty. So they conquered the mainland China, and then they changed the country name to Yuan. So we have Tang, before that Tang, Song, Yuan, Ming, Qing. So we have dynasties. But before that, Han dynasty was the best.
Yeah.
That's why that time was imperialist. So their army was so strong, they defeated everybody. That time was emperor, Roman Empire in the west, and east was Han dynasty.
Han Empire, Han Dynasty.
Han dynasty was the best, like by the military. So that's why people, they feel they respect like the Americans in 1990s. So after the Gulf War, they were like, you are the superpower, only superpower.
Yeah.
So that's why we call Han people.
Yeah.
Even today, we are Han people. But who knows? But we are Han people. We think we are Han people. So we have the status of from 2,000 years ago.
Well, your global status Chinese global status is certainly back to the world lead.
Exactly. So that's the aspiration of the whole country. Because if you cannot deliver that dream, you're not supposed to be there. Because other your opponents are gonna say you dream too low, you aim too low. That's because the history. We had some low points in the history.
That's an interesting point. Africa doesn't have that in its history anywhere.
Yeah, even South America.
Well, let's be fair to South America though. South America is a recent creation, right? South America was completely indigenous, other than tribes like the Aztecs and the Aztecs, I guess. Well, that's more Mexico, but it was indigenous. And when the Spanish came and dominated South America, and the Portuguese, of course, that didn't happen until, 300 years ago, right? It's only 300 years. So I would say it's not a mature continent in terms of its new population. It was very mature. The indigenous population had been there for thousands.
Like the warring state time was more than 2,000 years ago. We had the first emperor. Emperor Qing is the first emperor. Used to be warring states, warring kingdoms.
Yeah.
Like we have 7 major. Like my hometown was Chu, the kingdom Chu.
Yeah.
So right now we have 31 provinces. In the old times, these 31 provinces probably divide to 7 kingdoms.
Yeah.
7 warring states. They were fighting each other.
Yeah.
Until the 221 BC. That year, the Emperor Qing united the whole China. He was the first emperor of whole China. That's why I call it Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor.
Right.
So that's 221 BC. That's already 2,200 years ago, right? It's that time that from that day, the whole China was never split. The whole more than 2,200 years as a united country. It's occupied by Mongolia, but Kublai Khan, he inherited the whole country as an emperor himself.
Yeah.
So, and the Qing dynasty, the last dynasty.
So China was never divided up.
Never.
It stayed one unified place.
Yeah. And even the Qing dynasty was the last dynasty before it became republic. Was from Manchu, the north, the side of Great Wall. So there were the 2 tribes, the Qing and the Yuan, 2 dynasty. The whole China was ruled by barbarians. We call them barbarians from the north. But still, they integrate the whole. they adapt our system.
Right.
Even they're barbarians, but they use our palace, our royal system, how to rule the country. You have the emperor, you have ministers, you have all this kind of the system. You have the dynasty character we call Yuan or Qing or Song. Every dynasty normally coming from the same family. So this dynasty, Qing dynasty, almost 400 years.
Yeah.
From the first emperor to the last emperor, you have to be coming from the same royal blood. Doesn't matter it's real son or the cousin or the brothers,
Okay.
but it's always the same bloodline. It's like these emperors, dynasties, like the Qing dynasty they were the weakest, but they were really rich. Qing dynasty, like they said the Qing dynasty was counted for 35% of the GDP of the world at the time.
Yeah.
But they were so weak by technology and military. So 1840, the year of 1840, the first Opium War, the British and the French people, French army, they defeated China, Qing dynasty army.
Yeah.
So that's the year the Qing dynasty was like really humiliated. So that's why they said for 100 years, a century of the humiliation. That's the problem today even. The 100 years from 1840 to 1949,
1949, when
the communist China,
China
so that's
emerged.
109 years. We call century of
Humiliation.
Yeah, that's why even today, if I'm from inside, this thing is a huge incentive, motivation for the government to feel they have the legitimacy to challenge the West, because that they can use this all the time to saying the West is our enemy because you bullied us for 109 years.
Yeah.
That's a century of humiliation. So this price one day probably going to be paid. You never know, because
Well, the English have already paid it.
not enough.
Not enough. But Hong Kong is back. The French paid in Cambodia
That's nothing to
and
do with
Vietnam.
us.
I know, but they paid the price in Cambodia and Vietnam.
But you never know, because
But what are you going to do about the Portuguese, for example? Portuguese were terrible too.
you never know, because the history is still happening.
Of course it is.
That's the thing, because this mentality, even I was in college, high school, we were educated by the hundreds of years of humiliation.
Yes.
This mentality, mindset is always with you. Every people growing up.
So there's a desire to restore China to the glory,
and also the revenge.
the 1,000 years of glory that
Maybe
it
the
existed. Maybe the revenge.
Revenge.
Let's hope not, because China has nuclear weapons.
It
And so does the West, and it's an ugly, ugly, ugly thing to think about.
Exactly.
It's ugly to think about.
This
This is the thing that's going on in Russia and Ukraine right now that makes me nervous.
Yeah.
The lack of respect
the
that the West has for Russia, the disrespect is, you can taste it.
Yeah.
And I'm concerned that the Russians, they're serious.
Yeah. It's like for Russians, it's like, maybe I'm totally wrong, but Russia is half Europe, half Asia. It's like they are sitting in cross the two continents. The things happening in Asia and Europe, they are totally different.
Yeah.
It's called like at least Eastern Asia is China, Japan, and South Korea.
Yeah.
We think the mentality at my old time, I'm 42. So my time, we were thinking collectively. Confucius is collectively. So it's individualism vs collectivism. So in the West, a lot of time, individualism is kind of having a lot of importance in the society, how people think. But in the East, a lot of time is collectivism. Even in Japan, nothing to do with the ideology. How do you kind of form the government? Japan and South Korea, they think group, in collective first. The deep mind, they're gonna think about how do they benefit the whole group, the whole country. But a lot of time in the West, it's not the same way. So that's very, very different.
Oh God, no. And especially America.
Yeah, especially.
This is all about individual rights.
Yeah, but individualism is good for the like innovation, creative, other things, and then the balance out. It's good. It's balance. I find out fascinating is like the balance in the United States. You have left, right, you have independent, you have extreme left, extremely right. But the kind of, it's passive balance. It's nobody designed the way to balance out, but it's passive by fighting different factions. They fight with each other every day by opinions, by all talk shows. Passively balance. It's passive balance. But like in the East, sometimes they want to find the harmony or to move the society out by collectively thinking. They want to design.
So it's structural.
It's structural.
And in the United States, it's completely the opposite.
It's so the result.
It's passive.
Yeah. And
interesting.
In the East, it's like the elite people. Doesn't matter it's from capitalism or the Chinese version. They all, the elite people, they who have the power to decide. They want to design. They want to design the structure to how to move the country to be either very powerful militarily or make people rich to get the wealth, or to prepare for the next war, to prepare for the conquering.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's very, very, very different. It's like there's the great author from America, but it's from Russia. She's Ayn Rand, right? Ayn Rand, have you heard of her?
Oh, sure.
It's the Atlas Shrugged, right? When I first time read her book, like the Atlas Shrugged, I was really shocked. I did not know the individualism and the collectivism was that different. That was really shocking for me too.
I haven't read it.
It's amazing, Atlas Shrugged.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's different, totally different opinion from like where I came from. Like when I read that book, it's really amazing. When the people and also it's a very popular book. It's huge. And another book
in China?
No, not China. I don't think it's popular there. But it's like he has two. Another is Fountainhead. The Fountainhead and Atlas Shrugged. Like the author, she's totally individualism. But you can see that one has a huge market in the United States, in the West. That book, and she probably the most influential or most talented like a writer in the 20th century. In the 20th century, probably in the United States. It's
one of the biggest thinkers, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a huge thinker.
Yeah.
And then her book has a huge market. That tells the story. That book in China, there's no market, I think.
Because it's so individualistic.
Yeah, so individual. And also in Japan, I don't think she will have huge following in Japan or South Korea. So that tells the difference. But when you think collectively, and you can be powerful, but you kind of lose the details. The people like diversity. You have a lot of crazy people like this. But one day, probably these crazy people probably lead you to a right way to avoid some kind of catastrophic result. You know,
yeah.
If you think as a group, one day you think the group, let's head this direction. This direction may destroy other folks, but they think it's good for our group. So if everybody agreed on this collective thinking, you end up crushing the minority, end up crushing another group of people in your way. But if you have diverse thing, they're gonna say, oh, let's not move, let's not crush them. You know, they may not be. We have find another way. You know,
there's a challenge there when you're organizing a collective society and trying to create an equal distribution of opportunity. Being able to do that while at the same time as creating an opportunity for genius, it's a balancing act.
Yeah.
So critics of China would say, well, the Chinese have done a great job of organizing a society. No more for me. Organizing.
Empty there, that one.
There's some more in there.
Yeah, you can finish that one.
Yeah. So, you know, China's done an amazing job of creating a massive manufacturing system. They can feed all of their people. But the price China pays is they crush genius and creativity. I'm not so sure that's the case.
Yeah.
I think it just takes time to emerge. The opportunity has to be there. The chance to sit and think about something and make it happen, like Jack Ma, for example. The people who invented TikTok,
Yeah.
for example.
Zhang Yiming.
Yeah, I think more is coming. This is just the beginning of a wave of genius and creativity out of what China is turning into.
Yeah.
Not what it was, what it's turning into. It's very exciting.
It's
I'm going to duck into the bathroom. I'll be right back. Make sure I don't lose my audio thing. I'm good at talking for 3 hours, but sitting for 3 hours, I'll be right back.
actually there you can turn it off.
Okay.
It's this button. You move here. It's
Just like this?
yes. Yeah. And when you come back, we can move it on. We'll put it. You want to eat a little bit because I eat too much.
No, I'm done. It was delicious, but I can't eat anymore.
So after that, we can you can show me the invention.
Yeah, I'll show you the when you're ready. I'll show you this invention. So I'll tell you a little bit about it, so at least you know what it is. I was at a big golf tournament 15 years ago or something like that, and I was entertaining some customers from the United States. So I bought 10 tickets to the golf tournament for them. They were all from the United States, and one for myself. So it was a 4-day tournament. These golf tournaments are played over 4 days, over 4 rounds. And my guests, they went for 1 day. I had a big customer, and all of the 9 or 10 guys, they were all sales representatives. And he said, I just want you to buy 1 day for my sales reps. He says, bill me, just include it in an invoice. So I did that, and I bought myself, because I'm a golf fan, and I like to golf, I bought myself this 4-day pass. So I get there on day 1. My guests, they all had a wonderful time. They loved it. They thought it was the greatest thing ever. That they were saying Tiger Woods, all these big superstars from the golf world. I wasn't so impressed. I'm 6 feet tall. I couldn't see anything. There were so many people. It was 10 rows deep. I couldn't even get close. And they didn't care, right? They were just having a good time and drinking and enjoying themselves. But I was going to go for 4 days. And the crowds were going to get bigger and bigger and bigger every day. And I went, I hate this. I can't see anything. So I went home. And before I went back for day 2, I looked around my house to see if I could find something that I could bring with me to help see more.
Yeah.
So I found an old box full of records.
Yeah.
I took the records out. I don't know if you're familiar with them,
They're milk crates.
Yeah, milk crates.
Yeah, so you can get them from dépanneurs.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So I took all my records out of a milk crate, and I went back to the golf tournament with a milk crate in my hand. I'm not kidding. I walked right through the gates. Nobody stopped me. I walked up to the first tee. I can't remember which hole it was. And I put my milk crate down on the ground behind everybody, 10 rows. And the milk crate's only about 10 inches high. But I'm 6 feet tall. So when I stand on top of a milk crate, I'm 6'10". I saw right over top of everybody. It was beautiful. It completely changed my experience. Even better, people started offering me money for it. On the fourth day, someone offered me, good God, what was it? I think it was $80. He said, I'll give you everything I've got in my pocket for your milk crate. The crowds were ridiculous. There were 300,000 people on the golf course. And I said, no. I said, honestly, I paid $400 for my ticket. I can see. And he said, I get it. I understand. Have a great day. Yeah. So I thought to myself, aren't you smart? Bravo, good for you. And I forgot about it, you know? And then 5 years later, my daughter, who's 5'2", she went to a big Just for Laughs show downtown Montreal to see Sugar Sammy. 100,000 people in the street. So I dropped her. I said, I'll see you later. I'm going to go get a beer. I'll come back in an hour or 90 minutes, and whatever it was, and I'll pick you up when it's done. So I met her after. I said, how was it? Did you have a good time? And she went, I couldn't see anything. I had to look at the monitor. I couldn't even get close. Huh? She's only 5'2", so her view was blocked. So I went up. I had exactly the same experience myself. So I started to look to see if there was something I could buy that you could take.
Oh, actually, we forgot this one. Oh, it's on. Oh, there you turned it on.
Yeah, I turned it on.
Great.
Yeah. So I went to Walmart and Costco and Bureau en Gros, and I went to all the hardware stores. No. I couldn't find anything other than a step stool. You know?
Yeah.
The kind of thing you have at home to get the dishes off the top shelf. The surface of a step stool is about that big.
Yeah, 2 feet.
Just barely enough for your 2 feet. No. And it's very unstable.
Yeah.
Really unstable. Not appropriate. And they're big. They're not appropriate to take to an outdoor event. I wanted to find something to help short people see more at big, crowded outdoor events. There isn't anything. There's nothing. So I decided I would see if I can invent something. First thing I did was a patent search. I searched online to see if somebody had patented something, because there's no point of inventing it if somebody's already patented it.
Don't invent wheels, right?
Right. Exactly. That's exactly it. Especially even if the wheel doesn't exist, if someone's got the legal right to the wheel, all you're doing is helping someone else get rich faster. So I had a patent search done. Nothing even close to what I was thinking about. So I wanted to create something mobile that was easy to carry, that you could just maybe put it on your back, like a backpack, and then take it off, put it on the ground, step up, and boom, you see over top of everyone. So that's what I invented. It's called See More, because you can see more.
See more, yeah.
Yeah. And then I thought, okay, well, maybe that's useful once or twice a year. But would someone buy something like that if they can only use it once or twice a year? I thought, yeah, probably, but can I make it more useful? And so I invented a coupling system that enables you to keep the harness, like a backpack, but you can take the stool, the step stool, you can take it off and replace it with something else, like a backpack or a cooler or a diaper bag or something, as long as it has the attachment system. So that's what I invented. And I called it Seymour.
Yeah.
This little guy here, that's my Seymour character. So he's an alien. He's got these eye stalks that are high up, so he can see over top of everybody. So this is my brand character. And I've created a line of apparel for men, women, and children. I wasn't going to introduce this until after my invention, but there are no big outdoor crowds because of COVID-19. So that's where I go from here. I'm going to see if I can take it on Kickstarter
and get the funding for manufacturing, because what I learned is manufacturing something as big as my product is can't be done in North America. I checked. I went all over Canada and all over the eastern seaboard of the United States. There's no plastics manufacturer that will manufacture something this big. I have to do it in China. So I did find a Chinese manufacturer. I'm on prototype number 3. It works beautifully. I still want to improve it. And what I'll do is I'll use Kickstarter to manufacture the first round of production, and I won't say perfect, but I'll refine the design just a little bit more. There's a couple of things. It works beautifully. I've had it to easily 100 events. It has been engineered to carry 300 pounds, and it weighs 2.5 kilos.
2.5 kilos. Yeah, that's not much. That's crazy. That's really. But this kind of invention normally they cost a lot of money at the beginning. You design.
Yes.
And
because you have to create a.
That's easily like tens of thousands of dollars, right?
It's going to cost $100,000+ for the first run, because there's a minimum order quantity. It's called MOQ. And I was able to negotiate a minimum run of 500 units. Yeah. So it'll cost me about $45 US, not quite 45, 40 US per unit, which is a really good deal for me when you're only making 500 of something. But the thing that costs the most money is your mold. You have to create a mold.
Oh yeah, the mold.
And the mold is going to cost me 40,000 US, just the mold. So I'm looking at 40,000 for the mold, probably another 40,000 for manufacturing my 500 units. Not quite 40,000, it's less than that. Then I have to package and ship to North America for sale. So I need to generate in Kickstarter revenue about 90,000 Canadian.
It's interesting, but right now you're probably at the right time, I guess, because like the summer is coming, and then I guess even the Patrick Parade is back.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to use TikTok, and I'm going to go to the big shows in the summer with my invention, and I'm going to do it live. I'm going to live stream. I'm going to say, this is your view. I'm 6 feet tall. This is your view from the ground. And then I'm going to get on top on Seymour, and I say, this is what you see on Seymour, and it is 13 inches high. So I go to 7'3", right, really up top over.
That's like a Yao Ming. That's like a basketball player.
Well, Yao Ming is he 7'6"?
Yeah, 7'6".
Yeah. So like that.
So you can become a Yao Ming.
All I know is when I'm up there, whether I've got a video camera or my phone or whatever, the pictures and the video quality goes through the roof.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But like, is that your first thing ever invented?
Yes. I've had many, many ideas, and I didn't want to go to my grave having all of these ideas and not producing one.
Yeah, a lot of people get ideas, but if you take that step into the real thing, it's kind of taking a lot of risks, right?
There's a great risk with it. I've been working on this for 5 years now. You know, I went to trade show in the United States, and I verified. I actually had a pending order. A big retailer in the United States said, we want it in our stores, but we will not write you a purchase order until you manufacture the real thing. We won't make you a purchase order on your prototype. You have to actually manufacture it. But they said, we've been down this road before. People get to the prototype stage and they never get it manufactured. We don't want to issue a purchase order for that.
It is a big thing. Look at at the beginning, you have this at that one bottom. You see the Bousquet.
Yes.
It's the Bousquet in Quebec. That's the lady's family name.
Yeah.
So that's the only porcelain place in whole Canada.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So that's how the globalization to move the supply chain factory out of North America. So.
The reason I tried to get it manufactured in North America was because I could qualify for government support.
Okay.
you won't get any government support if you manufacture outside your country.
Even with the incentive, you cannot find.
No, you have to manufacture here. And even though I tried, like I went to manufacturing facilities in Quebec and in Ontario and in the United States, no one manufactures. Everybody, all the plastics that are being manufactured in North America are small plastics, like utensils for camping and things like that. Really small stuff. You can't find big products like I'm making, like I'm going to make. You can't find it here.
That's why right now the supply chain is really in China.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is 100% in China, and that's the global integration of a true global economy, where you have parts of the world that are absolutely essential to make it work. Like you have the economies of Western Europe and the United States, who have collectively, what, 1 billion wealthy consumers who can buy literally anything they want to buy. And then you have manufacturing, essential manufacturing capabilities in countries where the labor costs are so much lower that those wealthy people in the United States, Canada, and Western Europe can afford to pay for what's being manufactured in Taiwan, Malaysia, Indochina, China.
But this globalization integrating with each other, that's, I guess, my theory, my humble theory is that making the world even safer, to be honest. Because
do you think it is making the world safer? I do too, because of the interdependence.
Exactly. So you don't have the huge conflict. You have a tiny conflict, like interest here or there, but you cannot go full-scale war with each other because,
That's partly what's keeping NATO from attacking Russia right now. They're so dependent on Russian energy. The interdependence of Western Europe.
But to be honest, NATO is a defense alliance, not offensive. So they never did anything offensive. But anyway, it is all entwined interest. So you don't throw bomb to other party without hurting yourself.
That's right.
So it's collectively, by theory, it's making it safer for anybody to making a move that damaging. But this is really a surprising move by him. But usually nobody would do that kind of move because you are ending up like too risky for anybody else.
There are some things going on that I think a lot of people in the world aren't trying to learn about or aren't listening to. So when Russia absorbed Crimea, the island, there's 2 million people living in Crimea. The Ukraine shut off the water. There's only one source of water to Crimea, and it's from the Ukraine. So the Ukrainians dammed up the river. So there's no water flowing to the Ukraine. So you have 2 million people basically living without 95% of the water that they normally would have. So you have Crimea, which the Russians took back in 2014, with no water. So that's one reason. The other reason is I think the Russians don't trust NATO or the United States. They don't trust them. They don't see NATO as a defensive organization. They see it as offensive.
But it's kind of is the history the facts gonna track? They never initiated any attacks. But on the other side, the Russia has initiated a lot of that, started a lot of offensive. It's by definition, it's like it's just a smaller country. If you want to security, you join a group to have the collective protection. That's the main point. I guess, I'm not sure. But either way, it's like overall, like you have interest entwined everywhere. So make it us very safer.
I think so too. I think the more interdependent the world becomes, the safer it becomes.
Exactly. So today, even I don't know what is the outcome, but the problem, I think it would be not so bad.
I'm very worried. I'm very worried that somebody is going to make a mistake. Somebody is going to make a mistake, and Russia is going to overreact, and it's going to lead to military conflict between Russia and NATO. And that will escalate very quickly because NATO is so much more powerful than Russia.
But it's like collectively, when you threaten their existence, like the elite people, they're gonna worry as well. So not only ordinary people, when they reach certain level, the elite people are gonna back off as well. They will say, "You are too crazy. We're gonna do something about this craziness." You know, it's overall because like your family living Ukraine, some family relative living Russia, or living other countries. So you don't want to start like crazy, right?
No.
So when like you have step further, but when you reach some steps and you think, okay, this is too much for everybody else, everybody involved. So some people are gonna say something, they're gonna do something. Even you have the power to do something crazy, but the people behind you, they may not agree with you. They think you are threatening them as well, even you are the same group, same team. So
it wouldn't be the first time a coup d'état
exactly. So
has
at the end, I believe everything gonna balance out.
Yeah.
The collectively we will be fine, because like if you are crazy, it does not mean people following you would be crazy as well.
Yeah.
You know, to some point, we have to stop. They said buck stops something, right? It's an American expression. Buck stop here.
Yeah, the buck stops.
Yeah,
here.
The buck stops here.
Yeah.
So, you know, I learned a lot of English.
Yeah, but you know how you were talking about the 120 years of humiliation?
109 years.
109, the century of humiliation, and that China hasn't forgotten.
Yeah.
And China won't forget. Won't forget. Russia?
The same thing.
Similar, not quite the same. Russia was invaded by Germany, right? And they managed to defeat the Germans, but the Russians were never invaded by anybody else. It was just the Germans that invaded Russia. So I wouldn't say that Russia suffered any military humiliation, but the dissolution of the Soviet Union and the shrinkage of the Russian influence across the world, I think that's a humiliation to them.
But if you think 400 years before that, that would be Mongolia. I guess Mongolia was the first time they united Russia. Before Mongolia took over Russia, there was no Russia.
Right.
Exactly.
Just 7 kingdoms. Exactly.
So that's not, you know, if you look back, you are not glorious. You know, if anybody trace back 1,000 years ago, the world map is so different.
But I can understand China, and I can understand the collective desire for some retribution or restitution. Let's say restitution. Restitution is a better word.
Intellectuals in elite intellectuals in China. That's why it's very fascinating that people, like even myself, it's a trap. Myself, I have to think about big picture. Sometimes my mind is trained that way somehow. I still think it's maybe the distribution to me, because a lot of times I kept thinking about the whole picture, about what is the good for the society, a group, as a country.
Right.
But as sometimes individualist, you need to think about your own family, your own situation first.
Yeah.
But sometimes we just kind of carried away. Carried away, you will think about, oh, this is good for the country, this is good for this group, this is good for. But you know, you probably will start with the wrong point. You know.
Yeah. I think a lot of people in the world, in the Western world, I think we have misconceptions or misunderstandings of other people. So I don't believe that we have a very clear understanding of Russia. I've never lived in Russia. I don't get any Russian news.
Yeah, it's a China as well.
I never speak to anybody from Russia. I mean, a couple of people in Montreal who are very careful about what they say.
Yeah,
They're very careful about what they say. Touchy. You know, some people say that life in the Soviet Union was better than their lives are here in Montreal right now. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. I've never heard anything like that before, but I never lived there. And I don't know anybody who lived there other than you. So I suspect that everything that we're seeing and hearing in the news today is not the perspective that we would hear from inside Russia.
Exactly.
I think it might be completely different. You know, and so it worries me a little bit that we're not listening and we're not aware really of the Russian reality. And I'm very, very concerned that somebody from the United States is going to do something, for example, shipping new fighter jets to Poland. And then what Poland does, because they have new American fighter jets, Poland can send all of their
Soviet
Russian
Union,
fighter
Yeah,
jets
I saw that news.
to the Ukraine. That's direct. There's nothing subtle about that.
Yeah, nothing
That's
subtle.
that's not subtle.
They try to be subtle, but
There's nothing subtle about it. And the Russians aren't stupid.
Yeah.
You know, let's face it, this is an extremely intelligent country full of people. They're not seeing anything subtle about that either. So I'm very, very concerned that if Poland starts supplying military hardware to the Ukraine, that the Russians are going to respond in a very heavy way. And then it could just
escalate again.
escalate really fast.
Okay, anyway.
We should end this. I think we're past 3 hours.
Yeah. And,
We're close to 4 hours, I think.
And also, like, I probably move the camera a little bit this side. You can demonstrate your stuff.
Yeah, sure.
that
I'd
would
be happy
amazing.
to.
Yeah,
Okay.
That would be amazing.
But I need some open room. So you can just turn the camera and I'll do it right
exactly.
there.
That's what I'm going to do. This. Move a little bit, so... Yeah. So
But I need to get my stuff from behind you.
Yeah. That's very neat. You have a container for this.
Well, this is just apparel. That container is just apparel. This is a Seymour unit right here. So let me show you how it works. So, backpack harness, right?
Yeah.
Goes on just like this. You have a belly buckle, which is adjustable, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it can adjust out. These are your adjustments for your shoulder straps. So it can go up, it can go down. So you're in a crowd, you're this tall, like my daughter who's 5'2", and she can't see anything. So Seymour, let me just untangle my wire from it, my audio wire. Here we go. It has this coupling system right here. Okay, so what I do.
That's hex. That's hexagon. What? How many shapes that? How many sides?
It's six.
Yes.
Hexagon.
That one is amazing.
So look, there's the female part of the coupling system,
Okay.
and it's magnetized.
Okay.
That's a magnet in there. So there's a corresponding magnet in the coupling system, and
So you can, like a backpack.
yeah. Look at how easy this is. Just want to again not tangle it up in the wire. So, okay, your hands are free.
Yeah.
If you want to carry a shoulder bag or something like that, you carry it in your hands, and it looks just like this. You walk off.
Yeah.
Find yourself a place in the crowd where, if you're a tall guy, you're not blocking everybody, because it's rude to block other people. But if you're a child or you're a short person, take Seymour off. What I like to do, there we go, set myself up quick. It has locking arms for safety. Okay, so they simply lock into place like that.
Like a two-leg leg or something.
Yeah.
Something.
See? It has an enormous base. You're not going to get a base like that on a step stool at home. Okay? It's 22 by 18.
You can stand two people there.
Look, you can. I've seen it done. And at this point, I'm now 7'3". So I'm going to see anything. My pictures are going to be amazing. My video is going to be amazing. I can take it to anywhere in the crowd I want, as long as I'm not blocking people and their view. Because I'm 6 feet tall, and it's just not fair to do that. So when you're done,
Looks very simple.
Yeah,
So, this plastic piece, they cannot manufacture it anywhere in North America?
nowhere.
Canada?
Nope.
How about Mexico?
I didn't even look in Mexico.
Or Mexico?
I'm tempted to go take a look, but plastics manufacturing at this level,
Yeah.
this is pretty sophisticated stuff.
What is the metal? There's no metal. Just the two things.
No metal.
No metal. Okay.
Well, just the two locking arms.
Yeah, two locking
They're
arms.
metal.
Okay. Okay.
Everything else is plastic. That's not true. Look, there's a little bit more metal of these. You have these.
Oh yeah.
The brace.
Something to kind of open and close.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I don't know what you call them, but yeah, there's those pieces of metal in here. So when you're done, I don't have anything with me today, but because the coupling system, this here, all I've done is I've taken this coupling device and I've manufactured bags, backpacks, diaper bag, cooler bag. I have 10 different bags that you can attach to this so that when you're done with your Seymour stand, you can put it away.
It's like
and
a
you can
backpack.
carry a backpack or a cooler or something like that.
You can use it every day.
Yeah. So that's Seymour. Now, this little character right here, I'll show you real close. See that little logo?
Yeah.
People went crazy for that. I went to a trade show.
That's like, is that like, looks like the tally, what is that? Like there's a kids cartoon?
I don't know.
Yeah,
But so I've created a line of apparel. So I've got hats, jerseys like this.
Friends, Seymour Friends.
Seymour Friends.
Actually, Seymour Friends is good.
Yeah, yeah. I'll show you some women's apparel and kids as well. But because he's an alien, you know, and I like science fiction.
Yeah.
So this is a bit of an homage to Alien. That whole bursting from the chest thing, so not cool, you know. And then look at this for the kids. So I've got little caps like that.
That's amazing for the summer.
Yeah. Now, for the mothers,
Cool.
you know, look at this.
Pinky.
Okay. And
That's like a flying saucer.
well, that's because he's alien,
Yeah.
right? So, and these are all of his little alien friends. So Seymour Friends. And then I'll show you for truly the little ones. They're so adorable. They're so sweet, what I created for the babies. Oh, here we go. This is the stuff that really makes me smile. Look at this.
Look at that. So it's like Star Wars.
It says resistance is futile.
Oh yeah, that's like a Star Wars.
Yeah,
Totally.
resistance is futile. And look at this one for the little ones. See?
Yeah. That's
And if you like, this is for the babies as well.
cool. Jeez, you have a lot of it's registered like a trademark, right?
Yes, yeah.
It's kind of you go through a lot of the documents.
Yeah, so the whole idea, like I wasn't going to do any apparel until I'd introduced my invention. But because it's not a good time to introduce the invention, I've just designed all this clothing and just designed a website using Shopify.
Shopify.
Yeah, and so it's print on demand.
Yeah.
So there you have it. That's my invention. And I'm going to be introducing it later this year on Kickstarter, and I'll have everything ready in time for Christmas.
And also on TikTok.
I'm going to be introducing it on TikTok. Yeah.
Great, great.
There you go.
Yeah, I guess we can. Anything you want to add? We can wrap this up here. Or?
Well, I would just like to say I've loved the conversation, and thank you very much for the lunch. Anybody who wants to come and have an amazing Chinese food lunch or dinner, ante.
Thank you.
I loved it, and I enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, it's
I
amazing.
really enjoyed meeting you.
I like I learned a lot about that the conversation. Like actually, offline we can discuss a lot of things about China. If you
I would love to know more about China. I have a very strong feeling that I'm going to be manufacturing everything in China.
Yeah, it's
So knowing somebody like you is a wonderful opportunity.
probably I have connections as well.
You never know.
I have some connections to the factories.
You never know.
I probably make a fortune. Actually, a lot of years ago, like some friends there, they asked me to kind of talk to some channels here. as
Oh,
well.
yeah?
Yeah, but I know.
Well, I don't have a contract with anybody, not yet. And the last pricing I got from my manufacturer in Shanghai, that's 3 years old. 'Cause I didn't get any funding because it's going to cost me at least $100,000 for the mold in the first run. So I haven't had any funding yet for this. So I have no contract in place. So the first place I'm going to go is back to the person who
exactly.
helped me create my beautiful prototype. And that is a prototype, by the way. It's not even close to as beautiful or as elegant as it's going to be when it's actually manufactured. That's just prototype.
Great.
It's not even painted.
Yeah, great. Okay, we end up here and here.
Yeah.
We can finish here. Okay. Hands up behind the camera.
There we go.
Okay, thank you.